CLG seemingly having a good head on their shoulders, but can Luminosity knock it off? That is really what we need to look at here, ladies and gentlemen, because we're going into cash. We just saw 69 scoreline, CLG picking up that first map over LG. What do we got, boys, going into cash?
I'm going to go against the grain here because everyone likes to talk about CLG's cash. Oh, they beat SK on cash. That's great. SK sometimes doesn't bring their A game on online matches, folks. I hate to tell you. So I don't want to draw too much from that. LG's shown a lot of good play on cash in the past. I think this one could be a close match, but I might be eating my words later. That's just my opinion. Might be eating your words.
All right, how about three little letters right here, AWP? And how much of an impact could we expect it to have on either side of the map?
Well, cash is one of those maps where your opera is generally just used to hold pushes on T side, and on CT side, it's all about kind of how you set up the early round. So CT side, you're going to see, obviously, if the opera has a B spawn, goes B. If he has an A spawn, he'll either try to do like an A main or door pick nowadays. So in this team in particular, I don't know, Kusta, in my mind, I don't see him doing as much as he might be could for CLG. But last time their win versus SK had nothing to do with him, whether or not you believed SK was at their peak. It was mostly to me on their T side about the map control. So on CT side of Yell, I don't even know what spot Yell plays on CT side. I'm assuming he does the highway thing like Fallen and kind of goes back. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So if Yell on a map like Cash Guys, opping highway is kind of the meta, right? Like the white box, you keep bottom mid smoked, and you can kind of like hold bottom mid and listen if they drop trash, kind of jiggle, get that kill, fall back. So if the operas are doing that good, but if the teams are taking good mid control, I don't see the operas being a big factor actually in this game.
Well, what is a big factor are the Betway odds. Let's go ahead and fly those in right now just below us here. And as you can see, this one's still kind of going in the way of Luminosity in terms of the Betway odds. But guys, give me some quick predictions before we get into this game.
I was actually going to choose LG, taking this one maybe in 30 rounds. So I think it's going to be close, but I think I'll edge it towards LG.
Yeah, I'm going to do the thing where I don't actually make a prediction, but I talk about there's possibilities for them both to win. I think if LG comes out and they get aggressive and don't let CLG play their game, LG is going to win. And I think if LG gets too into just trying to play their setup, sit back in the site, we've seen CLG do very well against SK, again, online, whatever. They're sitting back in the bomb site. CLG had a good flow, and they didn't overcommit to any site, and they were good at falling back. I'm going to give it to CLG.
Well, there you have it. Those are the predictions here from the Xfinity analyst desk. But let's see what our friends in Blue and Launders think. And actually, you know what? You guys just take the match. I believe it's ready.
All right, thank you very much. Yes, it is pretty much ready here. Just a couple more seconds, and then we'll be good to jump into the action here on Cash. Luminosity, once again, taking on CLG here. And now for this map, I'm switching over to CLG, and I feel like they're going to come out on top.
Turncoat.
No, I said that earlier, too, so keeping it consistent, at least.
Yeah. A consistent turncoat.
Yeah. So let's jump into it here. CLG is going to be starting off on the T side and Luminosity on the CT side. Let's take a look at what both of these teams can do and see if LG can put themselves together a little bit better here on the CT side of this map. And hopefully not end up in a crazy spree of traded rounds like we did back on the last map there. I believe it was James that said it was the first 12 out of 14 rounds or something like that were all traded. So
Fence setup, PKL playing anti-flash, one person at quad. These two positions very strong on the pistol round. You don't see them get mollied out too often, as we can see on CLG buying 4 people, or 4 people have armored up, I should say. Reduced aim punch, a little bit less damage to the body, but with pistol rounds ending mainly headshots and reduced aim punch for players who have less armor. I'd like to see more utility buys and setups like this not be quite as possible, but normally on the CT side, you play retake on A, so this can be a kind of a surprise either way. 2 get boosted up, haven't peeked over quite yet. Imagine they'll try to run up highway as 3 pop into A main.
And they'll be doing that A main push now. The smoke comes out to cover the cross, make sure they don't get destroyed by someone hiding back a truck. Even Dinka player to start. Yell, however, sneaks in from right behind the smoke there and is able to take out Cutler. We even see PKL going back in now for an additional kill against CLG. Eliminates Ethan. The highway players now here, however. They need to save the day as they only traded back 1 kill. Ricky waiting at Z, but he doesn't get anything done either. Yell and Cello both picking up kills. Kusta only found 1, and now he's the last man standing for the team, and Cello back over a truck is going to be able to finish it off, giving LG the advantage to start off this second map.
That's kind of what you want to see happen, right? Because Luminosity's had 3 people at A. They had 1 boost up on the box. This is cool that the first kill comes this way. Completely unexpected. They didn't... Actually, the second flash was able to blind Fence as he didn't expect 2 to come through his way. But Yell getting a kill, PKL staying alive in his position, and 3 players in total being on the A side means CLG being like, ah, damn, we went to the wrong bomb site. They overstacked, and they expected us to do this.
Yell moving in, actually very aggressive this time. They're going to be able to already knock out 2 players from CLG. They might go for the 3rd kill in a second here too, with Molly in the way. That's not going to be happening just yet. Keller, however, could still find himself dead if he's not careful with this position inside of Squeaky. And Kusta even looking like he wants to try and breach back in, or at the very least hold the line against these players from Luminosity that have successfully moved in and taken a main control. Keller swung the door open to Squeaky, but he's been spotted very quickly, hunting for a head against that forklift player, but unable to find it. Pushes him further back to the halls, lets the A main player safely fall back too, and in general leaves most of CLG in a very awkward position, as there's not going to be a whole lot that they can do to try and recover. There's already a pretty bad situation.
Post up and wait for kills, leave the bomb, and Luminosity have also receded into the site. They can wait patiently. CLG have one last attempt at a group explode. And that flash is just meant to try to hear footsteps, to shy anyone off of pushing. But they actually want them to come.
He's ready for the push. He's going to be a little bit careful with his positioning currently, but is able to make it work. Still staying alive while picking up that first kill. This player's pushing out. Kusta thought it was a headshot, but apparently not. You can be a little bit tricky sometimes. There we go. There's the shot from Kusta. He looks for one more, but a truck gets a little bit far off the mark, so Cello, he's going to be able to take him down from that range. Securing it for Luminosity as they go up 2-0.
Plenty of kills coming into the UMPs. CLG not getting much done there, and after spending quite a bit on armor, also don't have a plan to show for it after the round is over. So definitely recommend on the second round, just in general, to not focus on buying armor, not commit too heavily to winning the round. And if you can upgrade your pistol and not use armor, you can almost certainly have this, like, similar odds to getting a plant. I'm almost positive. But yeah, just like we saw right there, a great 100 damage nade.
He's continuing to spam, and he ends up with 2 before being overwhelmed. PKL still waiting at top highway, though. He's going to be able to manage most of the rest of these players pretty well. And that's Yell, actually, that ends up pushing forward to get the last 2 kills there. Still a quick cleanup from Luminosity, and they're off to the quick 3-0 start after winning the pistol.
It's kind of a small thing because it's just a round where they didn't invest any money, but to send all your players with Glocks to mid seems like very unlikely that you'll both either get a kill or also get a plant. So I wonder what their final goal was there. Nice QB sneak, sending the bomb squeaky or something gimmicky like B main by itself, and just hoping that the players at mid were able to run a distraction. I think would have been a better attempt at trying to get a plant, but to each his own. Maybe they've seen some success from it in the past.
So now they must get ready for pretty much an all-out execute here in a couple of seconds. CLG very quickly propping themselves up for it now that they have the gunpowder to play with here. Color even already opening the door to Squeaky, so they're not pulling any punches this time. They're going to be ready to push right into the site, and as soon as the A main hit comes in, we should start to see the players from the B site on the CT side rotate over here, ready to defend. Yell with the op in the corner, though, here by NBK. That is going to be a little bit of a volatile position for him to play from, so he's going to have to remain mobile here. Tries to go in and take the shot against the player inside of the Squeaky Hall, but is not going to be able to make a connection this time around here.
So the way to beat Luminosity is to take mid more often, and I think we're seeing a lot of teams focus on sites, but it's really weird to overstack A just because it's very easy to retake the site. I just think that for some reason it's become common to do so. Now the op from quad is very powerful versus highway players, but in this situation, it's also very powerful because it looks like CLG want to just, they want to just walk out.
They're going to go for it here, and they even get a first kill, too. Neck is going down. PKL still holding the line, but he can't actually knock out his first target. So now it's left only to Yell, and Ethan just sprints right past him, knocks off his head. And there we go. That's the entire site clear, leaving Luminosity really with no options in a 2v5 with very little damage done across the board. And now post-plan positions being established. Showtime and Cello will have no choice but to fall back and save, as CLG, the walkout works perfectly for them.
That's kind of interesting. I mean, here's a round where, you know, Luminosity have the numbers advantage. So this is a round that I like a walkout. A round where you know that the other team has a utility advantage, a money advantage, and in Luminosity, actually, with the op and stacked on site, we're kind of anticipating an execute, it seemed like, but CLG not giving it to them, I feel like did a good job catching them off guard. And yeah, you know, as we can see, no kills for 3 players means they don't actually have that much money that counts towards their grenades, and with all their plays bound down to 0, you can really see that impact take effect. So when you're low and they're not, walkouts can be particularly strong, and that was cool. I like that. And that's a round where Luminosity had 3 people at A again.
So that's going to get CLG off to a great start here in this half, assuming they can build on it here. And it's Ethan, as you can see once more, too, doing most of the heavy lifting on entry. In fact, he does all of the heavy lifting there, getting all 3 of the kills. So a great start on the gun round for him. We do have at least one more rebuy coming out from LG, however, so CLG do have to keep this going. And it looks like Luminosity might fight back a little bit more this time. We have the bomb and Sunroom. LG also have an established presence here. One player on top of the box, too, and Ricky's going to peek it, which means Cello will get an opening kill. Now we'll be able to fall back into the site with a 5v4 advantage built on.
Great nade as well, to tack on to the fact that they have just gotten that opening frag. Wow. Was he just out in the open by the wall? Or...
He was like on top of sandbags, it looked like here. And Ethan, despite getting blinded, is still able to get a second kill there. They knew exactly where he was, too. Greatly held by Ethan there. Kosta now able to assist against additional players trying to push him from white box, and it seems like Luminosity, despite getting the initial kill here, falling apart at the seams. PKL is going to do his best to save it. He finds Kosta crossing. Finally takes down Ethan as well, as he was just a little bit too far peeked out, but then FNS will stop any further action back in mid there as he gets the last kill, securing another one for CLG.
That could have got kind of hairy. Definitely want to watch that back. Oh, he was just posted up on sandbags, but the angle is actually more favorable for Ethan. If he takes it slow enough, he's farther away from the wall than our man up on the sandbag. So that second spray, though, committing in completely blind and not overshooting or pulling down too hard or anything like that, even with no visual cues. Very, very good stuff. Is that a good flag?
Yeah, looks like it. Blind Showtime probably hit Cello a little bit too. Looks like he jumped. Showtime looking for that headshot, and he gets it. Let's see if he can get another one too. Unfortunately, he's going to be caught on cross. He was already kind of tagged down low, so Ethan just finishes him off. Yelna, meanwhile, is allowed to push all the way inside a mid-garage completely. And he walks right up. Only gets 1 kill, however, but still.
Why do they have an anti-eco setup where they're leaving the mid-push open? Especially when a kill is made, that's when you know, like, the CTs are going to get more froggy than ever. So if you're going to have your anti-eco setup and someone dies, you just have to have, like, everything kind of being watched. And there they had committed basically 2 people to B when they lost one, sent another player over, left mid wide open, mid was pushed. So risky.
Luminosity can get the proper read on where the last 2 from CLG are going to go towards, so FNS is now stuck here, and as he peeks out, Nekis takes him down, so Luminosity on a full save take down CLG with only upgraded pistols to their name starting off that round.
It's much easier, it's much harder to win a round on cash with less going for them, and here you see completely unawares. Yet Yell even does some extra damage to Ethan, who's still on point, saved his own life, but still almost at risk of just losing the bomb control. 2 players over at B main so early on.
Thankfully, they won that previous round in pretty dominant fashion, so at the very least, they're able to keep a full buy together here, but if they drop this one, they are out of cash, as pretty much every player is down at 0 or very close to it now. Once again, over here, it is the CTs that come out on top of the initial battle for the B Halls control. Showtime, he's going to be able to find FNS, and he leaves 0 room for a trade in that situation, so it's a free kill for Luminosity after they clear it. CLG now with 3 players inside as well are going to be ready to go out here from Speak. I'm not sure if LG will realize the number of players pushing back out. Ricky is actually going to end up accidentally spamming down color in the process, and now Yell can swing up, taking down one of the last players. That's Kusta getting eliminated, stuck to that corner. Ricky left alive as the last man standing, will also go down to Yell, and it seems like Luminosity get back the control here now, 5-2.
Critical component of these last 2 rifle rounds that Luminosity were able to win B main control in the first 20 seconds, which it's like T's would love to take those fights, but Luminosity are getting the spam damage in, the nades in, winning the opening duels, doing it all very safely. You know, that boost up on the box, the spam through the smoke on that second rifle round, all really safe methods of doing it as a CT, and it's much harder and much scarier because losing 1 CT is way worse than losing 1 T, so they know that going into it, and yet they realize that T's are going to fight them as well, and they would love to get them to get out of that part of the map, and they've been able to successfully do it 2 times in a row.
FNS is going to end up kind of looping back around here to group with the rest of the team. CLG are really just looking for any options they can work off of here for this round, as they're completely broken, as I mentioned previously, with the loss of that 7th round. So they're just on Glocks for pretty much everybody except Ricky, who buys into a P250, but that's going to be it. Very, very light bot this time, which means eventually we should see a very simple strat, as they don't have any grenades at all to try and get themselves out onto a site or throw fakes or anything like that. They don't have the capability to do that, and splitting players up with a bunch of dry peeks is Obviously not going to work on a map like Cash. They move out. They send their first player from Squeaky. Showtime, actually, nobody checks his position. This is a very messy spray. Still gets the 2 kills, but ultimately the T's end up with partial control over the B site. Ethan knows how close contact this is, though, so he's going to try to get behind coverage quickly. Still ends up going down to Nekis, but Kusta gets the plan at least. So on a fully saved round with about $250 invested, at least they get something going here. Now Kusta trying to hold, but obviously will not come out on top here. PKL takes him down, and it's going to be a round number 6 for Luminosity.
Hey, 2 kills in a bomb plant. We'll take that any day on a Glock save.
Yeah.
So it's good for CLG. They have some money, and they were going to buy next round anyway, but here they at least have a little bit left over, so they're not completely screwed moving forward. And also a good chance to win, or a good chance to be able to plant on a round where, especially you have one where you have more utility and are more fully loaded. So a chance to at least get the 2-1 ratio going. Still kind of a lackluster half thus far. 8 rounds in, 6-2 to Luminosity, and they're looking very strong and picked up the double op setup. Are positioned to take and hold on to mid control with one player going towards vents. And it's been very common to either, you know, go up towards vents with players who, you borrow one player from B, you borrow one player from A. You have your B player go to vents, and then he's supporting B and mid. And then your highway player can obviously get up to A, watch B before you very easily. That was a sick nade, oh man.
So that does easily 110 plus damage, I think there. Yell is even going to be able to get the first kill, completing the elimination of Ethan in these circumstances here. CLG still looking to try and go in for a little bit of mid-control, even with potentially up to 3 players from Luminosity being able to defend that. So Kusta is taking a big risk and continuing to push forward and will likely die, but we'll see if he can hold on and try to clear that out. There's the first kill. Like I said before, there's at least 2 more that could challenge him, and Highway specifically. He'll be happy with just that 1 kill, though, and decides to back away, which is going to be the smart decision in this case. They won't be able to push out towards mid and get the control there, but at the very least, the presence at mid did pull away players from the A site, so they're not going to be in awkward spots trying to rotate back in, and that's going to be Rick somehow taking down PKL despite the smoke being in the way. And now we can see Nek is also trying to take a battle back by Fork, but he's also going to be eliminated by Kusta. So there we go, cleared out A site. CLG back on the map and in good straight shape here too. Should be able to claim victory unless we see us come back in this round, which is not going to happen. Not even close to it. Ricky and FNS take down those last 2 players, and it's CLG 3-6 now to take this round.
That was kind of like a weak site defense / retake attempts, and we saw the opening kill come from Yell playing at sandbags, which they didn't expect. It's like they peeked him dry, but you don't normally see an opera just playing sandbags versus mid control because you can very easily molly up the spot and there's nowhere for them to run. So it's kind of a difficult or strange and a scary position for them to be in. But if they are in Z, Yell doesn't want to get smoked out, right? And he's a very aggressive opera, and he's not scared to be in a position like that because he's not afraid that he's going to miss his first shot. So you'll see him playing a little bit more unorthodox, and that's a really good thing. But even with that kill, the two players on highway, one was watching the door so intently, but yet didn't spray. Instead, tried to flash his teammate, and Nekas just stood in the flash, in the smoke, didn't move at all. His teammate got sprayed through. They would have been able to do tons of damage, or maybe even killed 2 people if they had just focused on spamming and then having one person rotate into the site, which I'm not sure why they didn't do.
So now with a somewhat lackluster buy, Luminosity are looking to try and get back control over the lead here. But CLG coming back into it as well. They're going to try to fight for mid control again, and this time they're able to take it a lot more dominantly. There's only really 1 player sitting to defend it after the mistakes of the last round. They want to focus a lot more on the actual site defense. So it's really there's Nekis, and he's not even really staying here. He just tosses in a nade and then falls back up towards Truck. So mid is actually left completely open for the taking. CLG is going to walk right in and get it for free. Yell mistiming that shot too. Will just essentially serve to give away his position. Tried a timing shot at after getting flashed out. So they know that the op's sitting up on the A site. And because of that, they're going to route over towards B very quickly, make an entry attempt here. Luminosity is aware of that, though, and they are quickly rotating at least 1 player over here. But CLG has everyone ready to go in at once. It's not going to be a split push to any degree. There's smokes covering essentially every conceivable angle going into this site. That does set up little mini arenas for the CT to fight in, however. Showtime looking for the headshot against Ricky there. Out of ammo now, and his teammates continuing to get cleaned up. Survives for as long as he does, but still only gets that 1 kill. At the end of the day, though, it's left down to a 2v2. Yell moving in, tries to take out the planter, but doesn't want to push that far into the site. So ends up taking a shot through the barrels. Won't be able to do too much, however, and just pushes him right back into tree room while he's still waiting for PKL to rotate back in and join him here.
They should try to, oh, I guess they do have kind of a good opportunity to go for this. Them being very low. And the time ticking down. Oh, but they get that first kill. PKL.
Ricky's blind now too.
Yeah, but he's got an op. which is the tough part. He's really got to wait for a mistake here. Ricky doesn't seem to want to give him that.
Ricky continues to weight it down until it's pretty much impossible, and now he can move out. Attempt to chase down PK. I think him getting caught on the terrain, though, kills his chances. Yeah, PK's going to be able to swoop into CT spawn. Now he's set up on defense. Ricky not even looking the right way here. No, PK's sitting way back there. He doesn't even want to try to challenge him, so neither one will go down. Both will save their guns, but CLG takes the round, and now it becomes very close to taking the lead here, too.
That was a really weird sight hit from CLG. At first, the split looks really good. They take mid control, they get it for free. They get in the site, they have the mollies go down the site, which honestly you don't see enough considering how powerful mollies are on B to have the carpet. But they found a spot within the molly that they could stand, and CLG decided to flash push through it. Now the flashes were actually not bad, but they were telegraphed, and I think PKL turned around when he was sitting in there with the CZ. But there's an opportunity there where FNS ran through a Molotov to try to kill him, where he could have gotten that kill. I actually think did kill FNS and then had a chance to get a second kill.
Cutler, with some patience here at top of boost, is able to slowly wean himself into a kill against Nekkes there. Actually was in a dangerous position, but makes it happen. Elsewhere, though, Nekkes was able to take down Kusta, however. So still an even trade, a 1v1 at the end of the day. Now Ricky moving in. They don't check that checker's position, though, so that he's going to let Cello surprise. Picks up now a second frag. Ricky, nice response there. Catches Showtime trying to sneak in from Tree Room. They do have Cello surrounded. He'll put the smoke in the corner there and try to save his life with it, but it won't work. Ricky goes in immediately, headshots him. PK's still alive back up here by the generator. Approach, trying to look for some deagle shots. It's not giving him anything, though. Finally tags, now down to 1 HP. Very unlucky on the deagle there, but thankfully Yell's going to quickly trade it. But at the same time, CLG have now completely abandoned the B hit and are walking into A, as it is an open site, and Yell will have to try and rotate over and do his best with this 1v2.
Okay, he knows that they came from A main. He knows that one planted the bomb, the other one probably stayed, and he realizes they had the site to themselves. Quad is the most common position that people will be in when they have time, and he has an opportunity to get a kill. The shadow will show. FNS isn't his first bullets. He's going to know exactly what's up. He's going to try to get on this bomb, and Cutler, every time he peeks and hears him shoot, that's an opportunity. But oh wow, misses completely. And Cutler, in that position, he could have actually lost that very easily.
I think Yell makes the mistake of assuming he's just going to go for very small peaks and just doesn't expect the wide swing at the end there. That's what ends up throwing him off, not able to adjust properly. So that will give control over the round still to CLG, but obviously it's very close, and we see Nekkes there too, getting away with that first kill, almost getting the second too here with just a USP in hand. The molly, and obviously the spam coming out. I think it was Cutler there is eventually what ends up taking him down.
Mid defaults, FNS goes up boost quick. The value of going up quick is knowing that there are certain spots that people can't get to, or you'll catch them walking up to, which can be very nice. Can be worthwhile to try to take advantage of that as opposed to go slowly and let them get in their positions. Especially when you want to change it up. And Ricky, after spamming, is trying to bait some utility uses, so he flies out back in a sunroom as his teammates opting the fallback. And it looks like CLG are postured for B hit once again.
He'll get ready to quickly swing in here. Oh, and even FNS gets spotted over there by the vents, so Cello's going to be able to take him out. Showtime spamming into some great damage to a player, but is not able to keep his wits about him there. Cutler ends up jumping through there. Will take him down. Molly will get rid of the Heaven player, at least temporarily right now. And the rest of the CCs are still on a very long rotate. They will have a flank, but it's still going to take a couple seconds to put it together. And they even have Kusta watching for it. He misses the initial shot, but it's not as much of a surprise as it was in the previous gun round when we saw CLG taking a B attempt here. Yell only ends up flashing himself, unfortunately. So he's going to get knocked out by Ricky. PKL also getting hit here is one of the last players that can really do something. They already know Nekkes is on the other side. It's just a matter of trying to prevent damage here for CLG now.
Damn, that's a series of highly effective grenades from CLG. All their flashes, keeping LG players blind for so long. Then the molly combos into smokes are super nice. I think Cutler smoke CT'd. Somebody else mollied Heaven, and then he actually went and naded into CT as that Heaven player who fell out went to go and spam the cross. So perfect timing on that, and got so much value out of it. And there, Luminosity actually survived the round with more players alive, but not the round win. And we're nearing the end of the half.
Yeah. So it's not going to be as effective as it would be if this is happening near like rounds 5 and 6. So that is going to serve to hurt Luminosity still in the long run here, but at least it keeps them together, keeps them in good shape to buy specifically on this round. They will end up with another ump there sitting on Showtime, but besides that, they have full rifles, full armor, and pretty much full utility for at least 3 out of 5 of their guys. So that should be enough to hold the sights. Yell's going to end up getting pushed back from his close-up position there by A-Man, though, due to an early molly that comes out from CLG. And they're prepared once more to go for a quick A-hit. These historically have not been that great from CLG. They've been very mixed in their results, so we'll see if that'll once again be the case, or if they can find a consistent push here to try and knock out these defenders. Only 2 on the site from Luminosity, and they have only 1 in mid, too, with 2 fully committed into B, so rotates need to be very on point here, or flanks for that matter, considering just how far pushed forward Nekaz is currently. We need to see them come into effectiveness quickly. And actually, I just realized Cello's not actually below Vents. He's sitting inside of it, so they do have 2 at mid. Potentially help out with this. PKL, though, waiting right behind this smoke setup. If he goes through it, he's going to be able to try and do massive damage, but Ethan walks right over it. You've got a blind player on site. They don't catch PKL initially, so we just trade for 1 kill. It's Nekaz down below on counter boost, though, that is able to find Ricky when he tries to go over top for that mid control. Kusa now immediately assumes there's going to be a flank. Under normal circumstances, he'd be right about that, but I think with still 3 players alive, Luminosity is going to be fine to go about this on a normal retake route, as they have 2 at truck, 1 coming up highway. They do still have a smoke and a molly sitting on Cello there too, so decent utility to try to use to get back into the site. The T's in the meantime only have their flashbangs, so they're a little bit light on what they can use to hold back the CTs. Luminosity taking a long time to prop up and go for this level. When they do move in, the smoke and aim, but they just give Nekaz away to the quad players. He peeks that openly without even looking at quad. Molly going over the site there as well is going to block off the bomb. Showtime tries to brute force his way to quad, but it won't happen, and Cutler shuts him down. And that's CLG now taking the lead, 7-6.
Sick round from Cutler. And, you know, I think as long as you know that the other team maybe doesn't have Molotovs, or you've counted them and they've used them all, what is brain expanding meme is to have 2 people quad but no one boost and just have them bait, because that means that, you know, that's a position like double emo on Inferno, where if you kill someone there, you expect there's not going to be 2. No one, they're not going to be both sitting there and waiting. You probably won't clear it. You'll assume the last person's the A main, part of the site that's not clearable from within it. You'd actually have to push into A main to get info. So overall, a huge play from Cutler, allowed him to put Luminosity on a save. And PKL, who tries to go in between reloads.
It's not going to work out too well for him. No. Nekaz now pushing into a very similar position here on A. He's going to try to push forward past these smokes maybe in a moment, or at least hold on the outside to stop a fork push. They're doing little bits of damage here, but nothing serious, so CLG still pretty much sit at full firing force. Cutler as well, tapping in, just takes out Showtime there. Cello does respond, but look at Nekaz now moving in, working with his teammates, able to do some great damage here, especially with forklift control reestablished. Now they just have quad and A main under their control, and they already know that Kusta's inside of A main, so if they can properly block him off, all I have to worry about is the quad player here. Ethan, though, doing a great job of knocking out these last 2 players, stops that from becoming an upset round in the favor of Luminosity. Make sure things stay consistent for CLG, as he swings right out and has both of his opponents waiting for him there.
Yeah, that was Monka-esque for a second. Everyone was sweating. 3 kills suddenly with pistols, just appearing on the kill feed, all from the blue guys as the smokes dissipate when it seems like a proper afterplant. And yeah, it was almost a write-off in the sense that, like, who knows really how those kills happened, but CLG weren't even doing anything that badly. They were just set up properly, and they ended up getting caught off guard. They bust out mid once again because they like doing this, and Luminosity have been giving it up. So quick path to 9 rounds. First early mid control, but in response, Luminosity have actually pushed A main. So your typical response to mid aggression.
They've been doing this. This is the first time in quite a few rounds where PKLs have been able to push in and find nothing here, and obviously hold this aggressive position for when CLG now rotate into it late. Cutler, I think, suspects this, though. He is going for these short peeks. I don't know if he suspects it that close, but he's able to manage the kill anyway. Taking down PKL. Now it's Nekaz waiting up from quad here. He's able to trade that 1 kill against his A-main teammate, falling back down here. Nekaz thinks he has an angle there, but not the case just yet. They did fall safely away into A-main, and backing away completely from this. They do have a minute left, so they could switch this to B if they wanted to, but
I hate when they do this. They risk a big flank coming out or getting pushed, and it's like, yeah, this is when time ticks down, and they have to walk and clear everything. They've got to hope they catch a CT off guard. I wouldn't be surprised if this comes down to the last 10 seconds. They fail because they can't get a plant.
Cello being spotted by Ricky, though, and he's barely even peeked out. Cello even just barely catching him, I think, because he saw the shadow, but still is going to end up getting knocked out there. And that leaves only 1 to defend the B site. That's not going to sound any alarms just yet for the A players to rotate over, so this is working out okay for CLG at the end of the day. Showtime now sees it. He's not calling for rotates yet, as he's only seen one player, but that smoke should certainly alert him to the presence of these players. The nade actually does some decent damage too, but the op shots, fortunately nothing connecting. So, doing a good job of dodging the shots, but looks like CLG will be able to get site control, get the plant with about 5 seconds left. And now they're established quite well, so this is going to be tough for these remaining 3 LG players to get back into the site. We can already see evidence of that over by Vent. Rikke was able to get rid of Yell pretty quickly here. Neck is actually doing quite a bit of damage, spamming in from heaven here. Takes down one, but then falls afterwards, leaving only the Opera alive. He's now got a 1v2 against him after he takes down one of the remaining 3. Moving in, they're both sitting back over there at checkers. It's planted perfectly for this position, and yeah, Showtime just not going to be able to pull that off. So CLG does indeed take the lead in a dominant fashion too at the end of the half. You can see it there before your eyes now, 9-6. Stick with us to see if they can close out or if LG's going to make the comeback right after this break.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Intel, the City of Odense, GeForce GTX, Lenovo Legion, Bedway, Pay Safeguard, Logitech G, Mountain Dew League, Xfinity, and ESEA.
Well, here in our second map of the day, ladies and gentlemen, it is once again CLG taking on Luminosity, just as we had on our first map back on Cobblestone there. It was fairly back and forth there up until the second half when CLG really was able to take control, and now here in the second map, it starts off well for the players on Luminosity, but then things flip once again as CLG takes control at the very end of the first half, and they now hold the lead at 9-6.
Yeah, they finally got things sorted out. I think there's still a couple of opportunities for Luminosity, at least like in that last round, for example, where like CLG made a mistake by taking a little bit too long to get to his site, but Showtime wasn't playing in the site, so probably could have given himself a better chance to delay having the op, knowing they've used a bit of utility, knowing that Luminosity are making a last-second decision to switch back. But at the same time, you know, CLG did this a favor by getting that mid kill that helped them and allowed them to go to B. Rikke coming over the boost, and you know, you would like to see mistakes like that get exploited more often than not. But either way, CLG have 9 rounds, which is a solid half on any map by anyone's standards. So now they can look forward to playing the safe half, the one where you sit back and you shoot your USPs from far distances. Hold in your M4s, use your Molotovs defensively. It's a lot more comfortable playing the CT side.
We'll see if Luminosity can turn that discomfort into victory here now. If they can win 10 rounds on this T side to be able to try and take control and at least trade this 1-1 for the night. They'll start it off slow as well, similarly to how CLG started off here in their pistol round 2, just holding it back. They do check into Squeaky this time, but besides that, not going to make any moves at the beginning of the actual round here. Just essentially sitting back and waiting to see.
This is an interesting approach. They both have the same kind of CT setup, and I think Rikke would be spotting highway, like so that no one can cross into Z. So even if someone takes mid, the weak point here is vent because they can't stop a B split, but people can play 2 on site at B. They don't have a smoke to section out the site, but they still got USPs, which is a pretty good advantage. And oh no, FNS is here with the smoke actually, so they can use this both for the retake or for the B defense. A lot of situations covered.
Well, looks like Luminosity actually end up routing over here towards B, so Ethan and FNS need to be ready to defend against this FNS as well. As a spot this and immediately call for rotates when he sees it. Oh, the timing unfortunately does not work out. He gets the smoke onto the ground. At least it should buy them a little bit more time. And wow, FNS 2 instant headshots. Tries to go out for the third, but the aim's a little bit shaky. That time, Showtime will finally knock him and Ethan out of the party, but at least they kept it even and allows now for a possibility on the retake. If CLG want to try and go for this, which they should on the pistol. Still just sitting outside of Tree Room in Heaven, though, not making any moves just yet. They even have Showtime committed to watching for the flank currently, so that's only 2 players on the site that they immediately need to deal with. Flashbang inside, however, will bring back the presence of that Halls player, as they know there isn't a flank. Cello trying to hold, but he gets overwhelmed by the 2 players pushing Generator. Showtime trades onto one of them, and PKL looking for a route back out, too. They're at the bomb, but it's just such a hard position to retake from, especially now at this point. We can see it spinning. Not again! No! He got the defuse despite him going down. It goes by the way of CLG, and they take the lead 10-6 to start off the second half.
What is with CLG players spinning on bombs that allows them to win rounds?
I don't know.
That's awesome. Wow. Ricky just being a hard target. And this in the last moment, that must have been like 0.01. Oh my god.
So they will make it happen, and that is going to be CLG that take the lead once more. Luminosity probably pretty upset about the way that that ends up coming down, considering the control that they had established up until that point.
That's a Kusta strat. Luminosity haven't invested in any flashes, and have to think about the fact that they just lost the pistol round in that way, but at least they got a plant. That's kind of nice, so they're looking forward to a buy next round. Walking out mid.
And that means that this round is going to be very lightly bought. Just P250s. Ricky already able to bring one of these players down to 2, but he does not stick inside of vents. So that means there's only the one player at Z watching for mid presence here now. However, they make up for this by having very aggressive presence in A main. 2 players pushed out there. Kusta finishing off Yell with a nade. Ethan grabbing 1 player now as he pushes out from A main there. Is able to take down PKL. And now only these players at mid really and the bomb carrier here to stay alive and are able to do something about this. Nekis is going to route through Z. See if he can cut off any of these players trying to move out of the B site. While obviously watching out for truck positions too. He knows that they know they have mid control. So he's going to be a little bit careful on that. And actually, he should be able to walk right up. Yeah, he spots it in good control to make sure that that doesn't get out of hand. He'll take out Ricky. That seems to be so far the only kill they're able to get. But these CTs in the site are actually quite low. Kusta, though, will look to maintain, and in fact, he does, despite that low HP. Knocks out Showtime and Nekis to give CLG control over the round.
That's a big win for Kusta, who stops the bomb from going down, the 1v2 from being possible, and further dismantling of their team on the CT side after having a very successful pistol round, or surprisingly successful pistol round. The buy up though for Luminosity, in spite of that, because they got that second round plant. Well, no, well, alert CLG, and even though they lost some players in that round, they were a couple of players who had SMGs, so they gladly upgrade to FOMS's M4s. And we'll think more about their strategy versus rifling players. The 3 mid setup is immediately forfeited as 2 players walk up to top highway. I think maybe a nade had been thrown.
Torment's very quiet across the map, though, as Luminosity just sit back essentially and wait for picks. Yell has been brought down incredibly low, of course, so he's going to be delicate for the rest of this round. Have to make sure that he sits kind of at the back of the crowd. Showtime still hoping someone to push out from checkers there, but not really getting that peek anytime soon. It does look like the player inside, I believe it's Ricky. He's just going to be sitting back and we'll wait for the T's to strike first. So no aggressive pushes anywhere on the map except for A main there. So we do have CLG with control of A main at least, but considering that they have that, it's very unlikely. Luminosity would go A for them, so they did rotate 1 player over to B, but that's not gone back to mid. So while they originally thought they had the read onto what Luminosity was doing, that's no longer the case, and they're essentially stuck in the default split, obviously with the exception of the A main push. FNS really trying to spot for the Vents plays here, but he's also being cautious since he doesn't see the left side at all. They could be pushing out. They do get over towards Vents. He hasn't been able to note these players. He spots the guy on Highway, though, and the other two Ts have already escaped into the Vents, so thought he was going to have to use his smoke instead of blocking off checkpoints or something like that. He's going to have to save his own life with it. Still ends up going down by the hands of Yell, however, and now Ricky just sits there. They don't have a smoke for Cross, so that means Ricky is going to be able to get at least one kill. Thankfully for LG, all these CLG players are peeking very aggressively, so they're giving away these kills left and right, but now Kusta is going to dive back in. Once again, evens up the fight. He's got his teammate waiting over here in the T-Halls too, ready to go back in from Team A, and if they want to. They don't have a whole lot of utility in order to get themselves back into this site. Ethan's going to creep right back up. His teammate acts as a distraction. They get the first and second kills without any trades moving in from LG. And the load is a little bit dodgy. CLG do control the situation and win it out 12-6.
I'm kind of glad that CLG won that round because they played it really well. And I think that FNS made the very important play there. After Luminosity were giving all that mid control, one player snuck to top Highway. He peeked out Z at the correct moment after Luminosity were done watching it, left him there, we're about to split B, peeks out, kills him, so that guy can't catch rotators. They know from there that it's going to be B split as A is completely barren and they have A main control, which is the correct response to mid as well. So overall, in terms of CT moves, it was very textbook, but they did everything properly. So credit to them, they played that round really well, even though Luminosity had tons of map control.
And so with Luminosity's economy being pushed to somewhat of a brink here, they are going to end up on pistol armor purchases. With decent utility, however, and with everybody already into the B halls, well, obviously this is probably going to be a pretty quick B hit. So it's a good thing that CLG don't have anyone out on the site, because they would be dead in a matter of seconds more than likely here. Cutler, if we'll spam and gets one kill for free from Tree Room. And now Rick A as well at Heaven was hoping for a timing shot there as the smoke faded away. Won't get it. Cutler continuing to spam in. There's a little bit more damage to Yell. The CTs will hold back, wait for that bomb to go onto the ground, and then for them to get into post-plant positions before they start this retake. And more importantly, wait for all these CTs to get together so they can do this in one smooth motion. As they started off, Ethan already catching one player getting just a little bit too aggressive in mid. Yell hugging this corner for the sake of his own life. You're trying to stay alive, and he not only stays alive, but he gets another kill. Cello as well trying to move back in, but actually they're somehow handling this with just CZs in hand. FNS trying to swing back forward, gets the first kill there, but they still have quite a few more players to take down. There's number 2 and number 3. They do a great job of holding it. In fact, they bring it down to just the 2 combined players having 16 HP, but they're unable to close out on those last 2, and as such, CLG will still win out the round.
I don't really know what happened. Back to you, Blue.
All right, moving on.
I have a funny story about Yell. The other day, I was like in a death match, and somebody asked him, who's the stud on Luminosity? And he said, WTF is stud XD. It's non sequitur, but it's kind of funny.
Oh, that's pretty good. So let's see here now if Luminosity will be able to crawl back at all. They do get another buy going after, especially a round like that, where they are so close to closing it out, but just fall short at the very end of it. They do end up with a full buy again here. CLG obviously still looking fine on their own guard, but you'll note they don't have an op currently, so not rolling with that at the moment.
They've been spotting mid, playing passively. I think a Luminosity that I used to know always executed on A. In this map, we haven't seen a lot of that. We've seen more mid control, which I like more. But CLG have been dealing with it really, really well. So I personally think that their T-side had a lot of flaws. That is Luminosity's. And here, it seems like they're playing a better brand of Counter-Strike, in my opinion, but are doing a little bit worse. But there's definitely a lot to be said about the way that CLG have been dealing with it as well.
So Luminosity kind of give away their hand a little bit here with the nade usage on A. Nothing too drastic though. The CTs of course will respond in kind with their own nade usage. At the moment only smoking back off Squeaky simply because of the fact that that's the only place where they've actually seen a player so far. But Ethan as well is going to be supported by this flashbang going. He did not see Cello as far as I'm aware, so Cello could swing out and surprise me. The Molly goes at the edge of A main, and now he's getting fire back from multiple players. Decides not to sit inside, will fall back and get ready for the hit. As time is getting low here, Luminosity need to move in. On the way back out, it's a great initial flash, but Ethan can't follow it up with a good spray. He's going to have to fall back. That gives up even more positioning to Luminosity. They still have to deal with 2-3 players sitting on this site, however. 1-for-1 trade is started back off. The player at NBK is not going to last very long either, and Ethan holding, looking for at least one more kill, but no, gets run over by Cello. That's the site under their control. And with just about 5 seconds left over, they're going to be able to get this bomb onto the ground. Yell also holding a great angle here. They will expect this, however. This is a very typical spot for someone to play in. So there goes the Molly. It's going to make him a little bit uncomfortable. Tries to quickly swing back in, but he doesn't even have enough HP to survive. So he burns himself out. And Rick A will get the last kill on Cello.
Once again, another great round from CLG where it gets a little sketchy, but they had the appropriate setup to start it off. I thought Ethan played a spot really well despite not being able to have a lot of impact, like falling back when he needed to, having the molly to follow up for his second engagement after picking up the slack when Kusta died, wide peeking on someone, and this is the guy who, kills FNS. FNS wide peeks A main when he should have just focused on Squeaky because he had a teammate at fence and another one on the side as well. So, yeah, in the 2v2, all the standard stuff going down, and CLG cleaning up nicely. Now, a lot of these rounds do come close in the after plants, but CLG seem to be in control of the situation, even though it gets ugly in the beginning. In control for CLG, full buy up for Luminosity. Might be a little bit unclear to CLG where Luminosity's money is at, but I think now they'll know.
It's good thing you realize what happened there before the nade goes right on top of his face. So Kusta, a little bit of a mess up at the beginning. He needs to get out quickly though, as Ethan is in a bit of a drastic spot, but okay, just handles 3 kills all on his own from that cubby position. It's amazing that Yell doesn't try to peek that a little bit sooner, but I think he was slightly worried about the opposition in Z, which is now completely gone, and has moved himself over towards A instead. But it's only a 2v4, not looking so great for Luminosity at this point. They get the mid control, yes, but they have to sacrifice 3 players in order to do it, and now they're kind of at a loss as to where they should take this from here. It does look like by default they're going to head up towards A, but even here they should have Kusta trained with the highway position. Watching for anyone lurking in, and PKL, he's even got to be careful of just A main presence. Yell starts it off well, though. He's able to push forward and take down Kusta. No resistance from him, and all right.
That was a little bit messy. I mean, he shouldn't have been I think he should have waited for his teammates, held on to A main, not worry too much about somebody coming. And he didn't know that they were splitting, but he also didn't know that they weren't splitting. So in that situation, he could have stayed alive, made sure that no one pushes him from A main, have his teammates rotate in, watch an angle that is maybe not perfectly safe, but a lot safer than that.
It's not over just yet, however, though. Molly going onto the ground, the only mod this said left that does force Yell to reposition, but it also makes it a little bit more tricky for Ricky, as he's going to get taken down here. Yell will take him out, and that kills any possibility for Cutler to retake this. He's going to fall back, and that will give the round over to Luminosity. A successful 2v4 from them after taking mid control.
Tricky Ricky, I like that. That sounds like a character from Boardwalk Empire that does like magic tricks.
It does sound like a...
for money. Can you guess the hat?
yeah.
Tricky Ricky strikes again.
So some life being shown here from Luminosity. Now we see if they can keep it going, as even with that round victory there, their money's still going to be very, very close to being broken here. But I just realized that CLG was also put into a very similar position. They're going to have to kind of sacrifice quite a bit in order to fully rebuy into this round.
Yeah, they spent a lot because a lot of those rounds are like 2v2s, post plants. So all the while, Luminosity are doing a ton of damage, but also getting a ton of bomb plants, keeping their money somewhat up and allowing them to buy very often. So there's not a lot of saves that they had to just like forfeit rounds and not get any kills as well. It's a good rhythm to be in, which actually has kind of allowed them to be in a great position to stay off a match point. Now they've still got a lot of ground to cover to get back. And CLG's, I mean, setups have been fantastic. Ethan has been incredible, to put it lightly, in almost every position he's played.
He's going to pull forward just a little bit more, however, to push his team over the edge and into the winning position here. As Luminosity sit back, essentially frozen outside of A-main and Garage currently, as they wait for any opportunity that might be given to them by CLG in order to get an early kill, just so they have that extra security going into this round, even with the gun advantage now being in their court. They will be able to take mid for free, essentially, this time. CLG don't have the gun power to be able to resist it. They're going to focus up on the sights instead. And that does leave A in a very vulnerable position here. So I'm curious as to what exactly these B players are going to be able to do, as they're not even really going to be able to get the intel quickly enough. We can see the smoke at Highway is going to deny, either FNS or the other player here to be able to spot this, and they'll go in. But look at this, Kusta over top sees what's happening. They can't track down either player. FNS finishes off the job, and a nice second headshot. Can he get number 3? It won't be him, but Ethan now arrives to save the day, bringing Luminosity down to just 2 of their own players here. Yell and PKL are going to be trying to hold in these positions. PKL swinging out, finally takes out FNS, and a great flashbang allows for the elimination of Ethan too. Was looking good for CLG to come back from this, but now I'm not sure anymore. Ricky moves in, and Cutler actually seals the deal. It will be CLG that come out on top towards the end of it with just a 4-spot situation, but they win it, sending them up to 15 rounds, and unfortunately putting LG into a very, very bad position.
Damn, CLG CT setups are actually really sick. They had a good setup there. They had the mix-up where they had 3B this time on a low buy, and they were fully prepared to stop a highway split by smoking top highway, so allowing your team to get that far. But then even having 2 smokes at the 30-second mark, or the last smoke at 30-second mark, which puts Luminosity in a very tricky spot because they've thrown smokes of their own. So they decided to go through it. Kusta from up top probably could have got a kill. Even from him not getting one, though, FNS comes through with a huge CZ double, and then the round's a lot easier.
Wow, okay, Nekis just swings out with the Deagle headshot. Cello and Showtime both getting kills here too. Ethan, the only one that's traded, is dead. Cutler, misses his chance for a real trade there on the Showtime. Make things a little bit easier. They know that they really don't have a bout in the world to try and retake this site in a 2v4, even with one player being completely off site. So they're just going to camp out and B, look to save. That happens way too quickly for them to come back from.
Shoot, man. I mean, just busted out Squeaky right in Akusta's crosshairs. He heard the door open. He's like, all right, I'm going to shoot this guy in 3-2, and then boom, gets one deked. That's tough to analyze. I mean, he just got wrecked, and I think he was expecting to have more time in the round to just, feel people out, probably not have to take a shot for a while, considering his position.
CLG obviously not going to be too worried about dropping this round just yet. They still have a very, very generous round cushion, now turning into 7 rounds after the loss of this one here. So they're still in an okay spot. They just have to make sure to close out eventually. It's probably not going to be on this round, considering that everyone else, including the players that saved, are still broke. But yeah, there's that again. Nick is just deleting Kusta.
What's the buy going to be looking like? As Luminosity have set themselves up to be able to buy a lot. It's CLG who have a couple of pistols. Yeah, they're not investing further. They're saving their guns. They're getting nades on those players, and then they're half armor on whoever can afford it. That's Ricky. 5B setup, basically, the one to make sure that no one can flank Z very quickly. If Luminosity spend this round scouting, then that means they'll be able to call this out. If they don't scout, however, and they want to just do an execute, which looks like that's what they want to do, well, it might get weird.
Finesse peaks just a little bit too early there, though, so he's going to give away his life. The timing on it, not so great.
Yeah, that was maybe a weird decision, considering all the utility that he had. He had one of the guns, now can't be recovered. But they're still 3 on B, and this leads them in.
The rest of the team going to be moving and execute very quickly. There's a great flash, but it hits both sides, so the CTs are not going to be able to immediately peek out and punish any of this. Ethan gets a first kill. Showtime has now recovered, but he gets hit again by a flash. Now they'll be able to take him down. Yell, in the meantime, did a little bit more damage. Him and Cello starting to rip apart these CTs. It takes so long to get the job done, and they lose 3 of their own players in the process, but they do eventually win the round here, 9-15.
I'm giving credit to everybody on that round. Everybody was so blind for so long. It was like CTs wouldn't peek, terrorists were blind. Cello was blind for that entirety of that. And for those of you who don't know, we can see that him looking like he's half blind on his screen. He's completely white for at least 15, 20 seconds there. So good job neutralizing each other. But ultimately, the better guns won at the end of the day. Another save round. CLG 2-2-1. Players on A site. Oh, actually moving up to A main to look for a kill.
Quite a few in mid, however, so they could look to try and punish or quickly rotate over. They are trying to go a little bit too aggressively in this round, so while they do get 1 or 2 kills here, it's still not going to lead to all that much for them. And with Ethan going down, that's pretty much the end of it here. Cutler's going to wrap back up, see if he can finish anyone off. Not showing up too lucky so far. And yeah, PKL makes the push to seal the deal on this round. Just 5 more for Luminosity, and they'll be able to send this into OT. But now they have to go up against another gun round from CLG.
That's not bad. Luminosity maybe could have had this game a lot closer with just a 1 or 2 clutch rounds. I think that maybe goes without saying, but it's crazy to think about the fact that CLG are 1 away from winning, but Luminosity is suddenly looking like a lot stronger. You can see that recovery as they trade rounds in the midst of this half. And then Luminosity take 3 in a row after breaking their economy. Ethan's still sitting at a very healthy 25 kills. Kusta was peeking into Squeaky and hasn't given up control of it, so he's not scared of that flash. No one's here to follow up, and he might lead in after this, yeah. He might just get frisky and walk all the way through. Oh.
No.
Are they going to flash, though, is the question.
Nope, they walk right out into Kusta, so Kusta will get that first kill. He's going to be able to fall back, closes the door behind him, but he was completely overwhelmed after that, and FNS, unfortunately, with a messy spray. He's also going to be taken down relatively quickly. That clears out the site. Showtime even getting the additional kill onto Ethan in mid, too, so that leaves Cutler and Ricky alive as the last 2, and they will not attempt a retic again. They are going to fall back out. It looks like towards T-spawn this time, and save the rifles once more.
I wonder what Kusta's end goal there was, because he had a great opportunity for a pick, called out flash, no one peeked, went in there, got info, got the guy who came back, and you expect that either someone's going to trade Squeaky so they close the door, but then also that the team was planning to split A, and like that's like a huge possibility. So why wasn't he more aware of that? And also, why was there no flash to help him on the fallback from FNS who's on the site? Because that's what you do if your opper is in a position where they're taking an aggressive pick, but they need a safe place to fall back to. So FNS wasn't particularly useful there. Kusta left out on his own, could only get 1 kill. And CLG lose a really important gun round.
So we can see again the replay here of the push from Showtime specifically moving in there. And then even getting this last kill way down at the bottom of mid on the Ethan. He is just destroyed there. Doesn't give him much of a chance to respond. And it looks like we're going into a pause now. I'm going to assume from CLG's side. Yes, it is CLG's pause.
I think they should go back to what was working in the beginning of the half, which was their 3A setup where they had a watch highway. They had a highway smoke for where the A splits came out, forced them into executing full A, which we see that Luminosity like to do, and then from there just hold. And instead, I think we're going to like to a more standard like 2-2-1, but we've only really seen LG go B on the anti-eco, so B split once versus a force-up, and I think they like A more on the rifle rounds. At least that's the pattern that I see, but it might have been missing something in there. Ricky picks up his Zeus, that's how you know they're saving. I think there's a Ricky on every map. He has like a spot that he loves to play on every single map with a Zeus.
This weapon's going to be inside of checkers, it looks like. Right in that corner. So it should be, for the most part, a pretty simplistic walkover round for Luminosity. Not seeing much of an investment at all coming out from the CLG side this time.
Ricky.
We have seen multiple kills going off against Luminosity in rounds like this, though, when CLG has had to do them in the past. So there is still a good chance, at the very least, to try and bring this close. Obviously not a great chance for an outright victory here, but they might be able to bring it down to just a couple players left over. And LG are taking this very slowly at the start of the round. Kusta as well. I'm not sure, does Nekis have Yell fully peaked? Yeah, he does, but Kusta just saw him. So he's going to look for him first, and he gets him too. Just a pixel headshot angle. Unfortunately, missed the Q on Nekis going up to White Box, so he'll be able to freely swing around and trade it. But at least starting it off with a little bit of chaos here, and now we'll see if they can keep that going upon their attempts to entry onto the site here. They do have Ethan up behind the box, and oh, Showtime. Looks like he sees him at the very last second, so they're going to be able to catch out Ethan. Prevents him from getting any upset kills. FNS, unfortunately, is a little bit too long range for him. The rifle is rotating over, but it's a little bit too late to make any serious impact here. So he is instead going to route it in the CT spawn to look to save it. And Ricky will just look to cause some trouble out in mid, more than likely. And there we go, there's the trouble.
Oh, and gets caught out. Now it's just Cutler just doesn't want to die. Just a good round from Showtime to be aware, running up A main, and just stopping just in time to be able to sure to clear Ethan. Very aware. 3 aware.
Don't think they're going to check this position, however. Yeah, PKL walks right past it. The other two are nowhere near close enough, so Cutler will be safe. He'll carry the rifle over. And considering that the losing bonus has built this up quite nicely at this point, there should be no reason why CLG wouldn't buy going into this next round. They should have an op and everything, too.
Yeah, they have everything they need and a full buy to their name. That was nice. You could barely tell that it's even ahead there. But it was Yells, and now it's off.
So Kusta getting at least that one shining light into that round, and now is going to have to look to build on that. It's actually not going to be him using the op in this round. Interesting note. It does go over to Ricky for this round, so we'll see what he's able to do with it. Looks like back to 3A for them, so you might be right about them going back to something original here, but they're going to be very aggressive with it. 3 pushing right into A main. They immediately take that control, and looks like they're going to keep it too.
This is like one of the only teams that has like a double op setup that I'm not mad when the other person has the op primary. Like I think Ricky's really good with it. Even though I think Kusta is maybe overall like a slightly better, I think we're splitting hairs.
Luminosity, after being pushed out of A main, seem to be at a slight loss here. They even pull the player Squeaky back instead of trying to send him out on a bit of a suicide mission to open up A main for them. He's going to be still over here in the back calls, regroup with the rest of the team as they continue to wait down the timer and see what exactly they can do. You'll note that the CTs have given up their presence inside of A main, but instead have boosted up a player on top of Shroud spot, and they have one more sitting very close to Squeaky. And obviously the player back to quad too if need be, but they have that 3-man setup, and it still looks like Luminosity want to go for an actual A execute here. Showtime not able to provide the intel over there in the B halls, suggests that it might be better to go B. So he's also going to fall back in a moment here and regroup with the rest of the team that is now getting ready for this push with about 30 seconds left on the clock. FNS, it's actually 2 up at Shroud. I just realized that too. FNS playing on top of this, but the bounce might cause him to look this direction. The smoke goes down, but Yell's able to creep in there and very quickly get the kill against FNS. Now, the question is, with the smoke down, do they expect Ethan? Because you're not going to see 2 people up here very often at all. He goes in, gets 2 kills, but is then traded out. So it's still an even battle, down to a 3v3, even after Ethan getting the double kill here. It's on Ricky on the site. Quickly flicks over. He's able to take down Showtime. Just 2 remain for these T's, and they must win this round. Ricky's going to go right in. He doesn't see him. How did you not see him? Oh my god. Yell gets that kill. The bomb will go down, and now it's an even battle. Cutler trying to swing in the upper, misses his shot. Yell going in. He takes down Cutler, and Costa, he's now alone in a 1v2, trying to clutch this out. Swings in, but no, he'll be taken down by Cello, and it's Luminosity that somehow win this round.
Dude, you hate to see that. How did he miss him? He was on his
looking
for
right
so
at him.
long.
He was scoped in on him on his left leg. Look.
And I mean, the third-person view is more generous with the POV, but even within his scope, he was able to clearly see him.
You could see that in his scope at the top left. You didn't realize that was his leg.
He was so tunnel-visioned on the he just not noticing right away. He was so tunnel-visioned on the default peak of the quad. Damn, that is such, and at a moment where they could have just ended the game right there, would have been 3v1.
So with that, that might actually secure OT for Luminosity. They still probably have to get through at least 1 more gun round, but at the very least, it wins a very important breaking point here and is definitely going to hurt the morale of CLG in the long run. They have to quickly look to recover from that and get back into the game, as it's not over just yet. They're on another eco here. They have to look to maximize damage, try to win this round if they can, as that last gun round will be probably what decides this matchup here.
Did Nekka see him? He saw his head, right?
I think he might have, yeah. He's definitely...
Oh, yeah, he's going up.
Yeah. Oh, he almost gets tagged on the way back out. Well, he does get tagged. He's not fully killed. Showtime's able to get the second kill, however, onto Kusta. And now Ricky, well, he moves out into the open, ready to take a battle here, but obviously doesn't find anyone.
A lot of damage being dealt.
Spam on the Deagle. He's hit at least 2 or 3 players for 50 HP. Unfortunately, it's not going to matter. PKL just tears everyone to shreds on A and makes quick work of the remaining CT-sided players.
All right, get an auto sniper. Let's end this game. This is CLG, who have had such a phenomenal start to even the second half. Really ran away with it. Now Luminosity have earned their way back in, keeping CLG in a situation where they have to buy, save, buy, save. CLG are going to take a pause to discuss their setup. It's 7 rounds in a row here for Luminosity. I think that they really should go back to that 3A setup. It's basically been A every single round for LG. They love it.
Well, they had it on the last gun round. It just didn't really work out too well with when their operative tried to push the smoke.
That's true. And it was even a 3v2, so he could have thrown that flash, gone fork, but he didn't think that there was some. I mean, if he didn't think there was some fork and he wasn't looking at it, why not go fork?
I think it was some unfortunate time from FNS too, because if you remember, he had that like second position up on top of the little light post or whatever above Squeaky.
He shouldn't have thrown that smoke.
Yeah, he got caught throwing that smoke.
He could have just, if he was there to take a bait, he's good enough to get 1 kill. Ethan gets 2. That's solid. They have a great, yeah, and they were, yeah, it's true what you say. They were really well prepared to deal with A and still fill on a bunch of fronts. So
they are still going to have 3A for this round. They leave mid completely open for the taking, though, if the minimap is not deceiving me. He'll tries to go in and take out the player pushing inside of A main, but it's not going to work out this time. Ethan establishes control, and that is once again going to cause some hesitation for Luminosity. It means nothing yet, however. You still need to see at least 1 kill for this to really prove itself to be effective. Or at the very least, it needs to allow these CTs to set up something greater, but at the moment it's not really doing that. The B players, however, starting to shift around a little bit. Specifically, we can see Ricky probably going to go peeking into the B halls. They'll see nothing there if he peeks all the way out. So that should give them the earlier intel. This is indeed going to be an A hit, but they also need to move into positions to execute very quickly. As Luminosity taking that free mid control, and it actually looks like they might be switching this over to a B play now because of how free mid was. And obviously because they have to retake A main. Moving in though, Ricky, he's ready to take the battle. He has Sunroom control. Cutler, however, is only able to get 1, and Ricky misses the opportunity when the player peeks out from that side hallway coming in from T-spawn. Yell as well with a beautiful shot against FNS. Now brings it down to just 2 for the CT side here. Ethan and Kusta both looking to clutch this. They do come in from opposite sides of the map, so at least have that diversity to try and help them out on this retake a little bit, but it's still going to be tough, especially on the B site here, and 1 mistake could mean the end of regulation, at least, as we're going in overtime if Luminosity wins this round. I guess specifically giving away his position first off. That's going to give the kill to Ethan, so it evens it out. Ethan does lose about half of his HP, though, from the battle. So he's going to be brought down low, and Showtime waiting right at Generator. He's going to be able to knock off anyone that tries to come back in quickly from Tree Room. There's Yell with a kill. Kusta comes out on top of his duelist, so it goes down to a 1v1 to decide it all. Yell has the angle, though, and he'll shut it down with a 4K here at the end of regulation to take Luminosity into OT.
Monster performance from Yell, 4 kills, very nicely done. And they did push B. CLG got that info early since Luminosity haven't been testing it too often. It was a good mix-up for them to go to this site, but even Ricky got his kill after taking Sunroom control and ended up dying because someone came late through B main, not even through mid. So it was like, or not through B main, sorry, through spawn, as opposed to mid, which I think was an unexpected choke point. And that is Luminosity after having such a poor start to the half, coming all the way back. Wow, cannot believe it.
So all the way down from 16 to 7, I believe, is where it was at its worst when we originally saw CLG going up to, or sorry, yeah, 15 to 7, not 16 to 7. Is what we saw CLG going up to when they first got to the scoreline, and LG were able to crawl all the way back in a straight streak too. So very well done to them, but now they still need to close out in OT itself. And since it is MR3, that means they need to win 4 out of 6 rounds, so the magic number here is going to be 19.
Again, both teams here in critical points in their Pro League, in their Pro League life, where they are both in contention for a land spot and actually desperately want this win. So the pressure's on, and maybe CLG are feeling it, whereas Luminosity seem to be hungry and confident playing from behind. CLG are 8 to 5. And Luminosity are 10 to 8. And I can't remember, did we look at either of these teams' next opponents on the?
I think we looked at it for the Luminosities. Well, they looked at it in general, but they didn't. I don't know exactly the order. Anyway, looks like we're going live with it, so let's dive into OT and take a look here. From the discussion, though, it looked like LG had some like pretty winnable matches still to go. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah,
Energy, Renegades, and Rogue, but I'm not entirely sure about who CLG still has to play. So. It's a bit more up in the air, but let's get into it. It's 16K start, by the way, too, as that was a rule change from the last season. It was 10K last season, and so they brought it up to 16K for this season, if anyone is thrown off by that at all. And so that means the CTs can freely take these risks on these bigger buys here. So we have the double op setup coming back in for Rick A and Kusta, along with full utility for everyone else there, and obviously the full buy too. The T's only opt for 1 op this time. Yell's going to be picking it up, and it's another slow start for Luminosities. They continue on the T side. Ooh, Yell's train on this angle. If we don't see a flash, yeah, he could have gotten that first kill. I think he shoots just a little bit too early, and that is going to let Ethan go inside of A main here and take that control.
I think as soon as he saw Kusta's body, he's like, I don't have time to set up this shot. If I do take any more time, he's going to take me out. So I'm just going to see if I can hit this nasty flick, but I'm mainly thinking about getting out of here. Mid control is out. No one events. Zia smoked. Sandbag has been cleared without actually having someone come around it. So they've got plenty of info. They leave one person as they fall back into what looks like an A play, but A main control has been taken while their attention was turned.
CTs have even smoked it off here very recently too, so that's not going to leave Luminosity if they still want to go A with a whole lot of time to execute on it. Curious actually, because they have their players split up quite a bit. They've got guys in the B halls, a guy outside of vents in mid. It does look like a B hit, except for this grouping of 3 players at A main that would suggest otherwise. So it's a little bit odd with the way that we have LG grouped up. And finally, after just throwing some noise into B, they're going to be able to work their way in. Kusta, though, completely goes down. It's Ethan that has to save the day once again, as he takes down 2 players. But even on the site, things are going very, very poorly here for CLG at this point. Now FNS and Ricky have to try and rotate in from these mid positions and retake the site as Kusta fell flat, and so did some of the other site players. FNS, though, he's going to be able to move forward. He even gets that second kill if Quad wasn't there, but it's going to be Ricky that gets it. Neck is on a big run. There's no way he's stopping this defuse with the way it's planted. So yeah, he even just goes down trying to peek it out from mid. Ricky will take him down, and it's CLG that finally went around, but it's only until we're in, we have to wait all the way until we get into OT for them to be able to do it.
Yeah, there's really no excuse, but it's Ethan to make a really nice play in A main. I think the difference was that here's another round where Luminosity go back to their bread and butter, which is A takes, and CLG are really well prepared to hold on to A main, retaining their smokes for just as much as they need to. Luminosity having to jump through them, and probably would have ended it more decisively. Akusa actually hit a shot that was pretty easy for him, and didn't get dinked on his way out into the site.
So it's still going to be a slower start this time for LG, but at the very least they do at least move in to make sure that they take A main control this time around. As in the last 2 to 3 rounds, CLG has gone directly towards A main in order to take it for themselves. This time they are going to smoke it off instead. And that will let Luminosity walk inside and take it, setting themselves up for another straightforward A play, which it looks like they're going to go for here. They don't have anyone at mid. They have a guy going over here towards Squeaky, so they will execute pretty straightforward into this site. They don't check up on top, though, so that's going to let Ethan go off again. 2 kills for him. He misses the third man coming out from A main, but now Kusta's still alive at quad, smoking his way to a certain degree, but that's helping him out as FNS will go 1 for 1, peeking out from the main portion of the site. Still a man advantage for CLG, so Kusta's not going to risk his life in peeking just yet. He got that great support flash, but no follow-up on it. Even though the T's have fallen back into safer positions here, Kusta still holds the site. As long as he stays here, well, the T's are not going to be getting a plant anytime soon. Just saw the player at door, Tusa knows he's there, but the T's also know that he's playing directly onto the site itself. So on re-peek, PKL can line up the perfect shot to take him down. Oh, Yell, unfortunate mistiming there on the unscope. Obviously nothing that he can control, but does miss an opportunity for a kill a truck, but now it goes up to the site. We'll be able to get this plant, and it's up to PKL to watch out while he's doing that. The CTs will kind of slowly creep forward here. PKL's actually being cautious of an A main flank or something like that. That's not going to be a core issue here. But the CTs have been sitting a truck patiently waiting as they slowly push back in. Cutler, he's given the angle, but he's not able to directly close out just yet. Molly onto the ground. We see the peek from Yell, but Cutler able to continue spamming in with great control. He is able to close out on both of those remaining 2 players and give a second one to CLG now here in OT.
And these were kind of like some of the rounds we saw earlier on in the half, where it was like 2v2, bomb plant, CLG win the after plant situation somehow, and here it is, 2 rounds in a row in OT, both again A takes, and it's just been A take after A take. Kusta even dying a little bit earlier maybe than he needed to if he was on site, and I think the longer he lived on site, the more difficult it got for Luminosity to actually get the bomb down, which maybe goes without saying, but he was particularly important in escorting his teammates who were at truck to be able to feel comfortable coming into the site, so he needed to delay just a few more seconds and couldn't do that. But yep, Luminosity's playbook running a little dry, I think. And CLG a little bit too coordinated in the 2v2s. LG defaults once again. Neck is hopping over this red box to make sure that nobody can peek into mid.
Yell's going to be going out into mid first here. Over the top, he's ready to execute. He does have to obviously sit back and let his teammates prop up for him, though. And it's going to be Cello that does that, checking the cubby first, clearing things out over there, and that makes way too many times in the air. Nekis, though, gets his first kill and moving in. He's able to find Ethan in the vents. So well done there as they scout at a first kill, but now they still need to build on this on the execution.
Ooh, and just after the counter boost and the Molotov, we have another player in vent. This will probably catch somebody off guard. This is what counts as basically a fast flank on mid, and Kusta blows it.
Moves in. Oh,
Okay,
no, he recovers it there.
Okay.
So he's able to get both of those kills. Cutler finding one from inside of the A site, too. He's in a very, very unstable position, so it's not too much of a surprise that he gets traded by Yell a few moments later here. But it's PKL that's more in a dangerous position here now. He's going to get mollied out from the site. They know they have Kusta pressed against the wall, but it's the T's that need to plan here. Kusta not going to be peeking unless he's forced to, and the T's do not have a molly or anything to force him into the open itself. Yell basically just hoping for someone to peek truck, and he actually might get that peek. Oh, no, but he clips it into the wall, so it's not a full kill. It only knocks off about half of his HP. PKL corrects that, though. It does take down Kusta. Ricky, I'm not sure if he saw that player there or not. Just didn't want to take it at that angle, but now he sees him jumping down to Fork, and he's missed his opportunity for a kill. Might have missed his opportunity to clutch out the round there, too, because of that. And yes, indeed, he'll walk right out. Yell will have him peeked, and that is going to be Luminosity securing at least 1 round at the end of the first half of OT.
It was close here, the Kusta. It looked like he was about to fluff it and allow players to get away, but even comes through the spray transfer in the 2K. Very nice. And that's the end of our first half of OT. 3 rounds, all ending in 2v2s with bomb plans at the A site. 1 of the 3 CLG don't win, but overall have kind of maybe done the more difficult part. Actually, their T side, I don't know if it was much better than their CT, considering they both went, was it 8-7? Or no, CLG got 9-6 in the first half.
Yeah.
So, yeah, probably looking forward to getting to play T-side once again. Looked like a very strong team. A couple of small, weird mistakes, but overall, pretty solid.
So now we just sit and wait here to see if CLG is going to go for a faster style to execute. They do move in much more dominantly towards A main this time compared to what we were seeing from LG. They've already got 2 players in it, and Spam almost actually catching Yell. He's going to move in, though, with a flashbang is perfectly positioned, destroys the vision of the first player, and he's able to take him down. The second guy, though, Ricky, is able to recover very nicely, and not only trades onto Yell, but finds Nekis, who also pushes into A main there as well. Finding him, that now gives CLG back the man advantage, 4v3. They'll have to build on this going into one of the 2 sites. But they haven't even committed to A yet. This is still just having their players in A main fighting for control of that.
Hey, listen, they've pulled some rotates. They've left one person at B. If they want to go back now, go for it. They do have Luminosity peeking around at mid, however, so that'll be the one thing they want to clear. Cutler opens the door, gets crushed by PKL, who re-aggresses Forklift. They didn't expect that to happen. And the last person, another person dies at A. Okay.
So, goodbye to that advantage. And now Cello is going to be... Oh, okay. He doesn't shoot out just yet. He's going to give the intel over instead and leave this flank for the actual post-plant situation. Or might even be pre-plant at this rate.
This might not actually work out that well for Luminosity. Depends how... Oh, never mind. Oh, never mind. Never mind.
And now, this is a weird round. It's been left down to Showtime, who actually gets that first kill. He should know where the second guy's at too, but he's going to be caught falling down from heaven there. FNS will take him down, and that's CLG going back up to map point once again.
Okay, and CLG just need this next round to win the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
very weird round. Back and forth all over the place.
You know, obviously FNS is supposed to die there. Walking back in, the man who was flanking expected that to go down, and really fluffed the spray. It's tough sledding. Boost up on truck. I don't know if anybody's crossing white box for him to pick. Seems like they're really taking their time here. And they don't even have off to do it. They're just spotting with the rifle.
So there's going to be players splitting up now. Once again on CLG, looking for options here. No commitments yet across the map, and they don't even really push into A main this time. But they're actually going to leave Luminosity. They're going to leave A pretty much wide open for the taking and just commit 3 to mid. This could work out because CLG has tried to go for 1 or 2 players in mid control a lot of the time, so the 3 players should easily be able to handle that degree of a push. And right now it is just 1 over top. The second guy's going to get boosted, but he yells train on this angle. They might try to molly him out, but they're going to need to push in first. Smoke's going over the top here. Yeah, still going to be unaffected by that. He has a perfect angle to spot this opera. You can see him, so he'll creep right out, and there we go. It's the arm shot to eliminate Kusta. Takes him out completely. Ethan will trade, however, finding Cello elsewhere on the map. What? They still need to take care.
Why are they mollying that? Hello? Someone's in sandbags, you molly them.
Yeah, apparently not. Yell now just allowed to peek again, and Ricky's not ready for that fight either. PKL and Nekas both get those last couple of kills, and it's a shutdown for the most part from Luminosity here, setting it to the final round of OT1.
Yeah, decided to come up dry after getting off. That's interesting. I think, wait, is Z smoked? That'll be the only thing that... Do you know if it was?
I think it was, yeah.
Okay, if Z was smoked, maybe they thought that the op was from Z. Yell has played here before, though, with the op, so probably should have been a little bit more careful. Can throw their Molotovs from safety as well, so should have probably thought about that. Yeah, the angle was so tight, so Gusta certainly didn't see where it was.
FNS is going to be hugging the wall again here as he's dealing with early nades from Luminosity inside of A main there. They won't try to actually commit to it this time. They'll keep their players on the outskirts, but still is going to cause the usage of a couple of flashbangs at the start here from LG. And it looks like CLG is going back to just the straightforward A play. We'll see if they follow through on this. They've got utility ready, but Luminosity is also already obviously catching on to this with the amount of utility that's being tossed out onto that site. They're getting a little bit precautious here, and they're starting to get players in positions to rotate. Yell, that last second spread always gets you. And this is going to knock out pretty much half of his HP, actually. That's a really effective molly.
Rotate comes in. Not sure if any footsteps were heard. B players rotating out.
Re-smokes on this side, actually, so that is going to let LG take up positions by Fork. PKL as well going in. Perfect timing, just as the flashbangs were going out onto the site here. And Nekas, it takes him a while to spray into it, but he does get the kill on Kusta. Yell's still stuck behind his own smoke, though, so he's not able to see all of that much. We have other players very, very low. Cutler boxed out, though. He's not going to get anything done, and it's just Ricky left alone. Doesn't have the bomb. It is recoverable, but he has to fight a little bit for it here. And with only 30 seconds left, it's not looking good here for Ricky to clutch this 1v4. We will more than likely have to go on to OT2. Molly at least covers things off. He gets the 2 kills there. Still a long way to go, however, and he's only got 20 seconds remaining. No way he can route to this site, just has to go through this smoke. Hope he gets lucky. Sees the first shot, needs to check behind him, though, and doesn't do that. So Cello takes him down, and that secures the tie at 18-18. We go to OT2 to settle this.
As expected with an OT, that gives you as much money to buy every round of the half, that it's going to be relatively even. And encourages double OT. So another situation where both teams were fairly evenly matched in each half, and kind of split up rounds are now going into another set. So again, this time the magic number is 22 to get 4 of the 6 rounds in the half. And in the first half of OT, the first half of OT1, CLG won 2 rounds 3 rounds went to the 2v2 on their CT side, which was their weaker side, and they won 2 of those 2v2s. Will they be able to do that again, I think is the pressing question. Now they do get to play T side first, but they will have to close out on CT, so they're definitely thinking about that.
Well, let's start it off here as their players will once again split up. It looks like they might be posturing up for a B hit this time a little bit quicker. We'll see if they follow through with that or if they're just going to route towards another part of the map. But no, it definitely looks like they're going to start this off with a little bit of B Hall's pressure at the very least, which we haven't seen a whole lot of. I don't think we saw any of it at all in OT, and it was very rare to see it in regulation time. And even Luminosity seem to agree with this, as they just have the 2 players inside of that site committed to it. They are boosted up on top of each other right now. But everyone else is very far away, just a mid-presence established. So if CLG can burst themselves into this site and quickly take out those 2 players, then they can establish very great control early on here and make it very, very difficult indeed for Luminosity to even have a hope of retaking this. They do have to wait after throwing out these mollies, though, because they still have quite a few players back in mid and over in A main. But once they get those guys together, there should be nothing stopping them from just going for a straightforward execute here out onto the site.
This is another way circumventing having to take mid, but at the same time requires you to be able to know that no one is in vent, and that's the value of having mid control. The peace of mind you get as a terrorist as they jump across. Showtime spots them. CLG have made no presence at A, but no one's actually rotated over to help. They're content playing 2 on site.
I only see 1 or 2 players so far here, so there's nothing to be alarmed of just yet. But now they're going to be alarmed as all of these nades will roll in. Cello completely blind into the corner. Is anyone... Oh, they don't check for him. They still get the kill. And Showtime's also only going to get 1. Nekis is caught on the rotate. They're coming in from tree room. So that's great security established here from CLG as they get themselves onto the site. PK and Yell know they don't have a hope, so they're not even going to attempt the retake, even though it is an OT. And they start off with max money. They'll fall back. And they'll be sitting on the outskirts of A, it looks like, to save their guns. More so to exit, probably, as they're going to get a little bit aggressive here.
I feel like Luminosity were a little bit too timid for my taste, considering they didn't have mid control and they didn't push for any info on A. So they, or test B. If they tested B, they would have obviously seen a lot of people, but they didn't have checker control, mid control, and didn't push anywhere. And there was 2 people in B that didn't rotate. They stood strong, but they also needed some help, I think. And after seeing 3 Molotovs go down at the same time, you know, at least 3 people out A. While if we push into A main, there's at max 2 people there, like at max. When people will push at a much higher risk than that. So maybe it wasn't communicated, but it should have been.
So that is CLG once again establishing the lead to start off the second OT. They go up 19-18. Keep their money at full for the rest of this half, too, because they win the first round. And Luminosity probably going to be just as fine, even though they have the 16K. So we will see if they're able to piece this round back together now and try to keep it close as we continue to venture further into the second OT here. It's split towards the B halls again for CLG. In fact, it's the exact same thing that they did on the last round here. So looking to start it off similarly. I'm not sure if they'll once again go for the same exact play, however. And this time Luminosity is going to get a little bit more aggressive in mid too, so they might be able to get this intel earlier on as they have that counter boost being set up now. Neck is going on top. He goes right over the top too. Unfortunately, when presented with his first opportunity, he ends up rounding the corner thinking it's safe, but that molly was spread in such a weird way, and it ends up completely. Oh, was it 2?
Yeah,
okay, they looked like they were together for a second there. So anyway, the second molly throws him off, gets him, and causes him to jump into a position where there is no recovery. So that causes CLG to go up ahead. They win another battle here at mid.
How? Wow, he was fast. His out-up yell, like straight up at a very favorable angle for the CTs.
And that's open A site, so that's another round for CLG, excuse me. They're going to go directly up to 20 rounds here. I don't even think Showtime and Cello are going to do anything about this again. Probably just going to sit in the B site and save.
Well, CLG are aging like fine wine here in this OT. Looking a lot stronger just in general on their T side. And this is one of the cleanest rounds we've seen all game. 5 alive, where both teams have completely full up buys. Cello all alone, and Ethan out the server.
So one tap there, at least recovers the op, but now they know exactly where he is, and since CLG essentially have unlimited money for this next round, well, they're going to try to hunt him down at the very least here. Cello with a nice response back through the wall, but the molly is still going to do decent damage to him, bringing him down to about 1/3 of his HP. He is getting pressured very quickly, just a matter of time, really, unless Cello can pull up some gargantuan feat here. It won't mean much, even if he does survive, but yeah, there we go. Kusa takes him down anyway.
I love how that, like, just doesn't even matter.
No,
like, this literally just deathmatch because they have so much money, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah, so that was 2 mollies. It looks like they kind of combined at the end, so it threw me off. But
yeah, they had everything covered. Just that close right in the under the pipes. It's good stuff. They've done a good job with that. Getting really rid of an op early on, as we saw Kusta throwing that away. So they've got tons of cash and they don't want, and they just don't need it. They've got their strat's going to be built around AKs primarily, which is typical for a CT or T side. Checker or sunroom control has been taken. T set up slowly outside B. Finesse is here, I think, to molly vents. So here's another way you do molly vents and molly checker. Oh my god.
No.
That ain't right.
No!
Oh.
All right, thankfully it was right at the end, but that gave him away, though. So they're going to be able to spam into him for additional damage. He's going to be low, and the nade to finish him off. An unfortunate turn of events. Story by Cello. So he's going to end up getting knocked out there pretty quickly after the molly finally spreads to his location. Showtime will take, actually I think he'll go to the exact same spot basically here. The flash against him does nothing, so they're peeking right into a player that's ready to take that battle. But thankfully the way that they're aligned, he's only able to get the 1 kill. He goes down after that, and that still keeps an advantage alive for CLG here. But that also has sort of sounded the alarms as this player, Cello, very much saw, or excuse me, Showtime very much saw the push, the number of players that were working their way in from the B hall, so they know what's happening.
They have no nades.
Look at this from CLG, though. They have a player Z flanking right now, and with everyone being right here, he's going to be able to walk right up. Yes, they have this established, but Kusta actually is the one that rips it to shreds. Ricky only ends up with 1 of those 3 kills.
Oh, demolished. That was a sick boost. When you catch players like clearing the site in places they think were safe, and because they had no mollies, they used them all in checker, and they used them tactically, but they were all out. It was easy to stand in heaven and try to fight. I actually thought that CLG, because they ran out of those mollies, needed to try to get in the site sooner once they found out they had to kill killed Showtime trying to re-aggress. But we're weary of a stack. Couldn't find one, still won the round. Really nicely done. 3 rounds in a row, all pretty decisive, all towards B.
Yep, so once again, same as regulation and same, to a certain degree, as the first overtime. It is CLG that has the penultimate advantage here, and they have 3 rounds to try and close out on CT side.
All they have to do is get 1.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's always at match point so far. That seems to have been the issue for them, but let's see if they can finally piece one together. 1 out of 3, infinite money. Should be easy, in theory.
Yeah, I like the double offs. Complement it with an auto sniper. Nope, okay. I think they do the triple. I swear, they just need to do their A setup with quad watching highway. 2 smokes prepared to smoke people off from highway on the A split. 2 and B with a smoke.
It looks like Luminosity just going to take a page right out of the book from CLG. This is pretty much the exact same thing that we were seeing from CLG throughout most of the previous half. They do group themselves together a little bit quicker this time, but still, the idea is the same exact thing, just brute forcing the control of T-Halls and slowly working in. I like this smoke from Ricky, though. He's going to give him a slight angle. Doesn't fully connect onto PKL. I think it hits him through terrain, and the nade brings him even closer. Nade, unfortunately, though, very much far away from PKL. Is going to leave him alive with 3 HP. So the nade itself only does 2. Mollies will flood the site, and this is actually going to be great for them. It does look like the CTs are able to get to better positions, and they have their own molly waiting to block off T main, so they're not going to be able to immediately follow that through with peeks onto the site.
They have 2 mollies left, but Cutler is in a position to have his teammate get smoked out. Ricky can't get back on the site easily. They should be, I mean, I don't know. I feel like Luminosity should just be re-aggressing B, realizing that Ricky is the smoke and checker. That's a big one. They've also counter-mollied, so if they did 2 more mollies, which they have, those spots on site aren't going to be safe. They probably get back into them because they're comfortable. They know checkers has been forfeited. They've done everything to work B properly. And here, yeah, the B split comes out.
They're going to get mid-control first, however. Molly will actually hit Ricky pretty much head on here, so he's going to have to peek into it. Oh, and the flames, unfortunately, throw him off, so he's going to miss that op shot. Showtime will take him down. Cutler holds behind the box, at least catches the trade, so keeps it down to a 4v4, but Showtime is going to destroy Cutler, eliminate Tim. He'll continue to push up onto the site. He's having some trouble finding the site itself, though. There we go. Finally makes the jump happen and gets to the plant position here. One more player tries to lurk behind the backside here, and that's not going to work out. So now they're up against a 2v4. They do this little, they kind of copy the boost that what LG did in the last round, but this time it's obviously not going to be anywhere near the success that it had. So there's just not really a whole lot of room left for these last two to work for. But considering that they have no issue with the money, looks like they might make an attempt at this anyway, or at least it was looking like that. Kusta with his missed shot there, though, is going to start to fall back. And I believe both of them will look for saves at this point.
What's the point? Just go for it.
They're going for it, but they're going for it like too late now is the problem. They're finally getting kills, but it doesn't matter. They don't have enough time to go into defuse it anyway, so they're going to end up backing away to save regardless.
Yeah, they just needed to speed that up. There should be no reason to, like, it's all different now, right? You go for every retake, you don't bother saving. There's no point. I mean, if you're like 1v5 on the other side of the map, it's like, what's the point of going for it if you have no time to even run there? But in that situation, just speed it up, move on. You've got 2 more chances to win. But before we go into another OT, and again, CLG are going to be sticking with the double lob setup. Yeah, looking for the aggressive pick, B main. No opponent to find, but the flash forces him to shoot, giving some info away.
Yep, gives that away, and lets Rike establish a position here right inside of the checkers room too. Kusta actually catches the first kill on the PKL over there, and the back halls leaning up towards Squeaky. So I think he actually pushed into Squeaky in order to get that kill, and he just barely survives it too. You can see his own HP going down to 15 there. Rike, though, because of the flash, does get forced away a little bit himself. And so Yell will continue to look out for him here. Checking the entrances, now swinging in, but yeah, Yell's trained on that, so he essentially just gives away his life. And brings it back down to a 4v4.
Putting too much stock in flashes can be quite dangerous. I think he had a pretty favorable spot if he just hung on to it. One person's rotated into the site, though. I like this, not playing a rotator position.
Moving in, Yell, I think, spotted him right over here. Molly's going to go onto the ground, and that's going to force him slightly out of position. Yell will knock him out. They expect Cutler to be in the spot. He was here last round, too, so that's an easy repeat and a repeat for Showtime to be able to take him down. And that, once again, pretty much closes things out. Kusta's low at 15 HP. Ethan does have full HP, but, there's not really a great position. It's the same 2v4 that they dealt with in the last round here. So this should go by the way of Luminosity, bringing us to the last round of OT once again.
They could have been a lot more clever there, as you mentioned. He played that exact same spot last round. It was going to be a B hit. They had FNS to support. They wouldn't have known FNS was on the site, but they would have 100% assumed that Cutler was going to be there if they killed FNS, and they would have. And as soon as FNS dies, in Cutler's mind, he's like, oh, they're going to clear me, because they didn't see his name tag, and then they know they haven't cleared oranges yet. So that's like, it's like he should have been the one to take first contact in that situation, at the very minimum. But a good Molotov to put FNS in an awkward spot on default.
So round number 6 of OT2. Let's see if CLG will be able to close out. They again keep the full buy rolling because of the infinite money that they get because of the 16K. However, Luminosity also in the same boat, obviously, as they've been winning this entire T side so far. This time, though, it's not a direct B play as we've been seeing for this entire OT so far. They're going to split themselves up a little bit more here and leave some room on the map to actually decide how they want to play this. Miguel specifically very far forward here, all the way over towards Squeaky. He's looking for an opportunity to frag someone early on, but not going to be given that. So he does eventually fall back outside of A main and regroup with most of the rest of his team. Now they're going to end up going for a little bit of mid control here too. First time we're seeing that in quite a while. It's going to be Luminosity that does it. CLG really don't expect this at all, so they initially don't have anyone in mid. They're going to kind of haphazardly rotate down 2 players, though, but they're not in great positions. Nekis just knocks Ethan right out of the ballpark.
No flash.
Just a dry peek for him. And FNS doesn't want anything to do with that now, so Rike, he's going to go back in towards checkers here. What are you doing? What is that? I mean, it works, but he's going to check vents now, too. We can hear them coming back in. Gets the second. It's the third player, or the second one from vents that throws him off. Cello will take him down, but at least he makes some impact there. Gets the double kill going. And meanwhile, up at the site, we do have Cutler. The Molly's going to give away his position, but he still gets that first kill. Has the Molly blocking off anyone else, pushing him, but Showtime's able to wrap around the backside, take him out. This is an even fight, though. A 2v2, but FNS walks right in and with no additional assistance, so Showtime's going to be able to take him down. Molly is actually going to do decent damage, forces him in the air. Kusta misses the shot in the air, however. So we'll give away that chance to bring it down to a 1v1. And Cello, nicely shot, will take him down, ending OT number 2 from down below there and sending us into a third OT.
Hey, third OT. And again, there's going to be more likelihood of multiple OTs just because of the nature of the game. But even in that situation, them winning the first 2 rounds gave them the best opportunity to knock out the third one, even if it was the old OT. So there is that. But this is becoming quite the long one. There's there's a lot to be said, I think, about both halves, or about both teams' halves. And again, I always like that in OT, these teams get a lot of good practice on the map. And the longer, I think you get to a critical point where every round counts for so much more in terms of what you learn about your team, yourselves, and your matchup versus the other team and their style. Gloves are off, and we're into the third OT, and just our second map of the day.
25 is now the winning round number. 24 is the tie point. Let's dive into it here. CLG staying on CT side, Luminosity staying on T side. So this is the first chance here, or one of the first chances for Luminosity to take the lead. If they can repeat their performance from the last half and win 3 straight, they might be able to take it here. Assuming that CLG doesn't do the same exact thing on their T side.
Yes, and we definitely don't want to.
Showtime, he's just going to walk right in, but Cutler's ready for it. Takes him down the peculiar smoke that was edged to the left there. Gives it away. Ethan getting one more. Cello takes him down. Wow, Cello even checking that spot for Kustas as they don't find him in quad. So, actually done by Cello. Still only brings it down to a 3v3, however, as they still lost Showtime and Neckes on the initial lurks. So it's going to be left even. Luminosity with control, but they're going to have to deal with pressure from essentially every direction here. They've got a highway player, they've got a truck player, they've got another guy probably moving into Squeaky here in a second. So he's coming in from pretty much every avenue here. This is not going to be an easy post-plant situation for them. CLG, though, are being very hesitant on this retake. They're not really committing themselves to anything just yet. Finally, FNS gets out, but it's after Cutler's lost back by Trucks. Now you only have the player Squeaky, which has been revealed, so it's very easy to trade him out. And Chell actually misses the spray when he runs past, so is going to be caught. PKL, though, holds the double kill at the end of it. They seem to freeze on that last player, and that hands it over to PKL to close out. Luminosity will take the lead starting off the third OT here, 22-21.
Well, that was a pretty nice recovery, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Weird, though, that they stuck on that boost for so long, to the point that it didn't even make sense to do it. Like, they were just sitting up on each other's heads just for the fun of it. But really nice spray control. Luminosity pull out a T-sided round, and CLG get the closest that they've been in 4 rounds to actually winning one. Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Straight spam through the smoke from Neckes is able to take down Ethan, but we do see Ricky finding a trade just a few seconds later. They're knocking out Showtime, and I believe that happens towards B. So, good start really for both teams here. Neck is still looking for his opportunity to get back out into mid, but with it now being smoked to Garage, he's not going to be presented with that so easily anymore. The rest of Luminosity is sitting outside of A main, and obviously you have the one player here in the checkers hallway too. But Ricky should be paying attention for that here.
I don't know. I think Luminosity might have a bit of an advantage. Just slightly because of the 4v4, but also they got Ethan out. Oh, and there's to solidify it. Yep. 4-on-3, Cutler gone. FNS going to look to make a play. Has been good, being brave in the late round situations to try to make something happen. Ricky also been good with the op. The Molotovs have also been very, very terrifying, as he takes a pretty aggressive angle in the open.
He's not going to work himself out.
Nice.
He's able to get that second one just before he goes down, and now FNS rotates back in. It's very low, only down to 19 HP, but at the very least they bring this into a 2v2, so FNS can kind of safely tuck himself away in checkers. Wait for Kusta to regroup with him, and then they can make a play for this. The bomb's even down on the ground too, so Yell is going to have to play this very carefully so as not to get surprised on by Kusta there. Goes in, picks it up, trades over to an AK now to play with here as he drops the op and is actually going to just get outright aggressive. Moves in. He does finish off a finesse, but Kusta takes him down a second later. So we are trading rounds finally here in OT. It's not just straight runs anymore. So CLG trade that round back, and we're going to be tied again, 22-22.
Yeah, nice second shot from Ricky. Very important that he got that kill. Neckes only gave him 1 second to live, and he still made it happen. Single op setup this time for CLG as they pull together their first their round win in OT, splitting in this third OT in total. Opening kill for Yell. Oh, where was that? On boost?
I believe so.
Oh, yeah.
Yell's able to get that nice first kill this time. That does pretty much clear out mid. There's no one else there currently. They just have the player in checkers, and he's obviously not going to be boosted up in vent from that position. So all you would have left to defend it after that is obviously that player in checkers watching for the B split, or the player up on top of highway watching out for an A play, but even he's moved away now too. That's Kusta, who switches his position over towards truck, so they're leaving it very, very open. Ethan, though, pushing into Squeaky. He's able to make up for that. Gets the kill on PKL, reaffirms that there's nothing inside of A main, and once again halts the progress temporarily for Luminosity as they consider their options, but probably just going to route it towards B now that their Squeaky player has been eliminated.
Sunroom control. Ricky has a big job on his hands. He can wait and hope that they come through from mid on the split, but there's a three-way split. They've actually made noise there, so that gives him a tell to be way more careful than he normally would be. Oh, missing a shot, a very critical moment. Smoking off one avenue, though. And finding a frag on Yell, very good. Wow.
Bang over top, he was really winding that one up, but runs at a time. Showtime's going to be able to knock him out, and that once again brings us back down to an even 3v3. Time is getting a little bit low for Luminosity, but with them already having partial control, they should be able to make this happen. The bomb's going up, they're going to quickly plant it. Cello, though, getting blinded, however, quickly corrects that. Spams past the smoke, taking down Cutler. And that should finally let the bomb go onto the ground here. Cello as well crossing. Oh, but he crosses at a perfect timing, too. As an only potentially would have allowed him to get that last kill, but sets himself up to kill the Heaven player at the end of it.
Two rounds for the one. Here's Yell going for the opening frag, and I imagine with the replay is probably kind of nice. There it is. Slight downward flick. Molotov wasn't perfect. Sometimes you want to have that lined up instead of doing a running one, but that also slows you down. So damned if you do, damned if you don't type of situation. And in that previous round, Luminosity, or CLG, rushed the retake. And actually, Luminosity only had like 20 health between the two players left alive, so there was a chance there, a glimmer of hope.
And now we are jumping into the second half. Luminosity does lead the way, but only by one round here, so they are going to need to win 2 out of 3 of these in order to close out. They only need 1, however, they want to secure at least the tie again.
Getting into absurd numbers in kills. In kills and rounds.
We're almost at 50 rounds now. There's 5 more, including this one. It's a slow start from CLG. They, again, are doing something very similar to what LG was doing for most of their T side there. Putting their players up, playing into defaults. They do bring the bomb all the way over into the B halls very early, though, which usually means that it's probably going to fall through on the hit here. But if they lose too many of their players on their first initial attempts to get some control, then we might see it head the other direction. I don't think that'll be the case, though, since they're able to cross team main for free, and that means they're also going to get checkers control. Nice nade, however, goes in, knocks off half the HP off 2 players right on the bat, so essentially perfect nade on both of those guys. And indeed going to hurt as Cello tries to make a play, goes in. The Vents player was looking the other way, but thankfully one down below that was partially flashed was able to save it, preventing that from becoming a disaster. That does, or should have at least given away where the bomb is, and now Neck is going to be able to push out from the mid area here. He takes down Ricky. Continue to spam inside of checkers. Doesn't look like he gets any actual connections though. Ethan still has full HP because he's actually outside of checkers in the team main room. So really just looking like he's trying to distract, but essentially wasting time to let FNS get into a better position here. They only have 30 seconds left. Plant that bomb onto the ground, and Ethan has not realized yet that another player snuck over there towards the generator, so he's going to be a bit of a surprise. FNS able to manage the player in Z. Neck is now trying to head back into Tree Room to manage FNS, but it's going to be FNS that gets the kill, and slowly but surely, Luminosity's numbers continue to dwindle until now it's down to just PKL in a 1v3.
Why would Neckis do that? Why would he try to? They were clearly waiting for FNS to push through Z so that they could crunch B, and they know that there was a bunch of pressure there, but he decided to run through the smoke to try to kill CT when he could potentially, you know, tip his teammates off in the site that he's leaving, or the other team. That seems like thoroughly risky. They had 2 on the site. All they had to do is defend 2v2. FNS can actually kill them from heaven, though he can be a threat, but he can also just die very easily. Pros don't fake.
Clears it out, jumps on, and they're going to peek him and take him down pretty quickly there. So that gives it to CLG to start off the T side. And that also ties us 23-23. Both teams need to win both of these remaining rounds if they want to win it here. Otherwise, if they trade, we go to OT4.
Which is very, very likely.
Yeah, the way things have been going so far.
Yeah. Yell and Showtime have picked up ops. I think normally Luminosity on their CT side have typically gone 1 op. Slight differences. CLG are not picking up any. I think are trying to set up for something a little faster. 4 or 3 in A main, 1 squeaky, and 1 outside B, making sure that no one pushes. There is someone getting aggressive though, and he gets away with it. Cello killing Ricky. That's a big win. A lot of information gained.
So Luminosity off to a good start. They need to not get overcommitted, just finding that 1 player. However, there is going to be an A main hit. Yell up on top of Quad. That might have been a little bit too bold there, as FNS does quickly trade him because Yell has nowhere to hide in that situation. Neck is now stuck behind the smoke, but he is able to wrap around to the site after losing his teammate here and assist a little bit more with the actual hit. Neck is We'll find 1 kill so far, but so did his teammate that was playing back towards quad here. Ethan gonna walk in. He does have his teammates or his opponent's back turn. With that, he's gonna be able to take down Nekis, but very quickly after that, Cello moves in to take down Ethan, putting Luminosity up onto map point.
This is the first time Luminosity have been at map point at OT.
Correct.
So, I mean, maybe CLG might be running out of steam. Pressure's getting to them, realizing they had a couple opportunities to close it, especially that one where they had 3 rounds in the first OT. But, yeah. This is going to be a chance here. Luminosity have to win this one. They can close this game out right here and now on CT side after coming back from a 15-7 scoreline.
CLG, on the other hand, are going to go directly inside of A main and Squeaky Hallway with pretty much all of their player base except for one, who is going to be waiting in those B halls in case Luminosity try to get aggressive again. CLG at the moment just setting up, but this could also be signs of a very quick follow-through onto a site. And Luminosity really don't have anyone defending this site. It's only PKL sitting here, and the rest of their players very far away, either fully committed to mid or in the B site. So if PKL goes down with not enough trades, then that's going to be the end of it there, really. CLG will have very secure control, and it's going to take a while for Luminosity to get into positions to retake. Thankfully, it's happening on A, but there we go. The worst fears have been realized. PKL goes down without a single reply to any of the stuff that's happening here. They don't even know that it's being committed to the site just yet. That was just a random op pick that hits them. So they're going to have to continue to rotate players over in this direction. And for Nekis, he'll get aggressive. He'll push inside, and they do not. Oh, no, they do have a player watching for that, actually. Ricky up on top with the boost. He's watching for exactly for that. So at the moment, CLG counting all their apples here, and it's working out well for them.
Oh, they're... Yeah, sorry, I was going to say, they're pushing B main right now, so they have some info that it is still going to be A in this situation, even with someone running through B. But this guy, FNS, can actually provide a big flank, and I don't think they know of him. Seems like they didn't even hear him. Showtime, is he in range? Nope. He's taking an aggressive angle on A main. So, CLG are going to be kind of worried about executing, but they don't have time to run back. Yeah, they've just got to go.
They're going to move in. Yell's going to be able to catch first player here. More are going to move out, but they have to go in a very elementary sort of way here. Ricky moves out, but thankfully the Oppers were supporting each other. Now the surprise from FNS, but there's not really enough time to plant the bomb anymore. They have to burst out very quickly, getting that onto the ground essentially immediately. Molly as well will go onto the ground too. Will they even plant it? It looks like they do, but the Molly's going to prime chill up at 7 HP. He gets the first kill, and now it's a look for Cutler, who did escape most of it, but Cutler peeks right into Cello, so that's going to give it over to him. And with a 1v2 clutch at low HP, Luminosity will finally be able to close out in the third overtime with a final scoreline of 25-23, meaning these teams will trade for the evening, each going home with 1 win.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice for Luminosity. What a huge comeback for them, and crazy awareness from Cello to assume that Cutler was going to go and try to find that fight early in the last round. That was super sick, especially being that low. But that's that, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. And so we have the analysts standing by to break down this very, very long game.
That's that, isn't it? I don't think he's wrong on that note, is he? Well, you know what? Could be very wrong. Would be going from 14-6 scoreline all the way, running it back into overtime. Let's talk about it, boys.
Yeah, I knew basically all that would happen. Kind of foresaw everything there. Pretty turnkey match, and my prediction was correct.
Yeah, didn't you say it would go to 3 overtimes and that it would be a big comeback? CLG would start off by having a 13-round streak after being down 2-6, and then LG would have their own 8-round streak. Yeah, that was an interesting match. Actually, as an analyst, I like to look at these kind of matches and the overtimes on a map where it's kind of saturated in terms of tactics, so you can learn new things, right? Because people need to come up with new kind of gimmicky plays in overtimes to get rounds.
They've seen everything you've thrown at each other. Now you're kind of working on the fly. That's a very true thing.
Well, let's not waste any time. Let's jump right into replay of round 12 here. We do see a little of aggressiveness from CLG.
Yeah, well, you know, we talked about at first that, you know, this is very simple aggressiveness, right? So at this point, CLG had just come back with a couple gun rounds, but they're trying to turn it around a little. FNS gets mid control pretty easy by himself, and CLG just kind of goes towards B. What I liked about this was that, you know, for LG to get to these 6 rounds, they had to kind of play aggressive themselves, and that's what I wanted LG to do. But CLG, in turn, if they wanted to get rounds back, they couldn't just kind of pussyfoot. And I told you, if they weren't going to take mid control easily and they were going to work around the extremities, CLG would have a hard time versus LG. FNS simply walking out middle right there and kind of taking mid control makes it so that they can make risks at the extremities, because you have mid control, it's easy to rotate around. But if they didn't, they wouldn't have that. So good early play from CLG there. Actually had a lot of confidence, and CLG did carry that for the next couple rounds.
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah. No, they carried it for, I think, 8 more rounds after that. And I'm going to ask you to do one thing for me as we continue talking about these two teams is let's say Counter Logic and LG, because seeing CLG and LG is like hurting my brain, right? And you're so good at talking about CS that you do it very fast, right? So it's like, oh, I'm like CLG, LG, right? Like it's hard to understand.
Got you. All right.
Well, CLG and LG were...
Counter Logic.
Yeah, excuse me. Excuse me. Counter Logic Gaming and Luminosity Gaming were the two teams we see, or we did see go head-to-head there over on Cash, and I believe it was Cobble. But in case you want to fact check that, and I could be very well wrong, head over to youtube.com/ESLCS and make sure you load up that VOD in case you are just now joining us and you did miss the first 2 best of ones of the night. We got one more replay. We got to be real quick with it, though. We got round 28, and, you know, honestly, James, when we looked at this one, 2 boosted Shroud.
Yeah, so this round wasn't even in overtime, so they have the gimmick plays going deep right here. And FNS, bad timing on the smoke because Yell's going to see it drop and he's going to hard peek that. But there's another guy up on the boost. Who would have thunk Ethan double boost on the Shroud? I've never seen this in a match, but then again, I haven't played ESL Pro League, so who knows. And he gets 2, right? So that's good bang for his buck right there. Usually on Shroud, you kind of want to go get 2 kills, right? What's really interesting, though, is Ricky, right? Ricky makes a great play, hits a nice shot, underhand flash through the smoke, highlight play, misses the guy on top already. He's crouching right there. Oh, my God, no. So we could have avoided all 3 overtimes had Ricky seen that guy. But the thing is like, I wouldn't really totally blame that on Ricky. He made a good play. We don't actually see how much he is flashed there, right?
Yeah.
So when we see from GoTV, it might seem a little bit clearer. Another thing, too, is like when a T is crouched there, it's not that easy to see, right? So, you know what I'm saying, though? Like you're going through a smoke, you're I'm just trying to see it from his perspective,
I appreciate
right?
you doing that because a lot of times you know, sometimes people will assume the opposite. So it's good that you give them a little room because that does happen to the best of us.
It does happen to the best of them, including you, Jordan. Anyway, look, we're going to Misfits and Liquid here. It's going to be our second 2 best of ones of the night, and we will be going to a quick break. So make sure you're here with us when we come back. We got 2 more maps, and then we'll be calling it a night. So be right here.